The metronome start.
we have to talk in time. The entire
time. How are you doing?
I'm
today?
doing pretty good today.
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Do like the weird time signatures. I can't.
Oh yeah, can we talk in 7/8?
Yeah, right. Can we please talk in 7/8? I'm not really feeling 4 time. I only record in 4 time. I kind of want to maybe try to get a song outside of 4 time just to experiment a little bit.
I mean, 6/8 is the place to start.
6/8?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are your time signatures usually?
Mostly 3 and 4 in
Okay.
RIOTNINE. Like, we sometimes screw with like a 7, but it's more about like tempo variation than it is anything else. Like, it's way cooler to me to like take a 4, like, so it's like it's still 4, right?
Right.
But you either speed it up dramatically or slow it down dramatically. So it's like,
so when you record that, I mean, I guess there's no rules to music, but for some reason, for like recording purposes in my head, I've always thought that like if I'm doing let's say 100 beats per minute, it's probably, it kind of makes my job harder, at least with the capabilities I've been using on GarageBand, to lower the tempo unless it's like exactly maybe like half of that, like 50.
Sure.
To make it. But
so
if you went from like 100 to 75, that's possible.
We don't record to a metronome.
Okay.
So the way RIOTNINE records our music is, at least for this last EP, and I foresee in the future that we're going to do the same, is we go to a studio. It's actually the same studio that Diet Light goes to. It's Red Shed Records in Watertown. Shout out Evan Yoakum. He's awesome at what he does.
Yep.
Cool. Shout out. Yeah.
Shout out.
And so I'm getting some weird like latency, I think.
Yeah,
is that normal?
is saying the same thing.
It's like
it's
almost like a synthesizer pedal, it sounds like, on my voice.
Really?
Does it sound the same to you or no?
I don't know. I'm a bad judger on that.
You want to switch?
So
we start from the top of that a little bit. We go to the same studio that Diet Light goes to, which is Red Shed Studios in Watertown. And Evan Yoakum kind of specializes in recording bands live, which is why Diet Light goes to Evan. Pretty reasonable prices, but more than that, just like really, really expert recordings. Like his stems are phenomenal. So we all recorded live in the room. So I had my guitar with 2 amplifiers running stereo for my reverb and delay. And we had Danny's bass recording with a mic, an amp DI, and a bass DI. The amp DI we didn't end up using because our amp was not the best. But we recorded it all live. Like the whole EP was like each song was done in 1 take. And then we didn't record with a click because we have those tempo variations, and because we were all playing live. Like if Ian just recorded his drums with tempo variations, and then I tried to record guitar over that with tempo variations, it would be really, really difficult. But since we could all watch each other, and like it was like playing a show kind of without the vocals. So instead of like focusing on vocals and dividing your attention, you can just play your instrument really, really well.
Right.
So we ended up having like a really, really successful recording session. It like recording the entire EP, including the like 2 hours that it took to check every single little mic and cable. Like, there's 2 mics on every drum. There's overheads for each cymbal. We had like Evan has this weird, like, it's a figure 8 mic that records stereo for the whole room, and then it goes up and down. So there was actually 4 mics that were all in this one unit that were all taking like different stereo, room, whatever.
Yep.
So we actually had to sound check like it was a real gig too, because the room mics wanted to capture like what it actually sounds like to be at a RIOTNINE show, and so like the room mics actually had to reflect how loud is the bass, how loud is the guitar, how loud are the drums, are they balanced?
Sure.
So sound checking it like it's a live show, sound checking it like it's a studio, checking every last mic, every last cable, every last DI, takes about 2 hours.
Sure.
So we did that for about 2 hours, and then recording the entire EP got done in like 6 hours.
Whoa.
It was pretty
vocals
efficient.
Too?
No vocals.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I did vocals at my own house.
Okay.
So, Yeah, it was all the instrumentals except for a guitar overdub got done in just a couple hours.
Wow.
Because we could just like do the song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
oh, we're gonna play the song.
In the beginning of I think 3 of the 4 songs, there's like kind of softer guitar plucking.
Yeah.
Playing. That was done live too, and then you hit a pedal and it's just.
So the only song that we did anything different with was the first 2 songs. It's just a quieter guitar riff, and I, adjusted my distortion pedal to increase the volume, the exact amount that I wanted it to increase. But for Death Before Detransition, we started the recording where the electric guitar starts, but then I went back afterwards to record the acoustic, like finger picking part.
That's the one with the horn.
Yeah,
in it too.
Yeah, and the horns were also done at my place. Maddie Chase, a UWM student, did the horns.
Cool.
She's a music major and did an amazing job.
Sick.
We didn't write music for her. I wrote the concert pitch on a piece of paper and then transposed it to, I think horns are in F. So transposed it to the key of F. And then once he was in the key of F, I wrote the note and then a fifth above and a third above to do a full major chord. Or a minor chord, whichever, major third, minor third. And then added, off to the right side, I wrote all the different suspensions that she could have used. And I was like, I'm not going to write music for you because I don't know how. And so I just, music theoried my brain.
You even know that. I'm barely following what you're saying.
And so I literally, each chord was a piece of paper. It was root note in F, third, major or minor third, fifth, and then a suspension. And I would literally, this is the D chord.
Oh my god.
This one's the F chord. And so this was all done completely off the cuff, and Maddie totally killed it. There's a couple really spooky suspensions in there that totally were just pulled out of the ass.
And suspensions in the terms of horns, is that a different technique that they use on the instrument?
So from a music theory standpoint, instead of playing a suspended chord, like a sus chord or whatever, it's the suspension is you're playing this chord for 2 measures and you're playing this chord for 2 measures, but in between them, there's a dissonant note that resolves onto the second chord.
Oh, okay. Is that
kind of
note the sus chord, the suspended chord?
Yeah, so kind of if you're playing a G chord on the guitar and then you want to go to an E minor, you might hit that F sharp. That's a suspension too.
Okay.
So it was kind of the same concept, but on a horn. So instead of just moving your finger, you're only playing one note at a time. So you have to know which one am I suspending. What I'm going from G to F sharp to E minor.
Sure,
so you have to you have to structure the whole chord in your brain and then know which one of those notes is going to sound best to drop a half step or to raise a half step or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So it was
what kind of horn was it?
It was a French horn.
French horn?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I love the sound of French horn too. We had the chance to maybe do trombone or trumpet instead, but I just there's that, Haley Hendrix, the Bug Collector, I think is the album. It's this indie folk album that's kind of I don't know. It's good studying music or whatever. And there's one song on that record that has really beautiful French horn way in the back, and I was like, that sounds really cool. Like Snag has done, shout out Snag, they're my favorite band in the world. They've done some stuff with trumpets and maybe even trombone, but hearing that French horn on the Haley Hendrix song, I was like, wow. Yeah. It's just gorgeous. The tone is just so warm and
definitely.
I just love French horn.
Yeah. That beginning piece with the guitar and the horn just really set a cool just feeling and emotion, just very morose and just like you said, warm and comforting.
Yeah.
So
but also spooky and unsettling.
Right.
Uncanny vibes. We're screwing with all the good vibes and making them worse.
Oh yeah. What would you say the overall vibe of that EP is?
Cathartic.
Cathartic.
I could go into that a lot if you would like me to.
Yeah. I'm having trouble to picture what the word cathartic means.
Catharsis is just a release of an emotion.
Okay.
So it could be positive or negative.
That's a good word for that.
Yeah. So I would call our music really cathartic. There's a good I want to say 50% of shows, either Danny or I or both of us will have some kind of emotional breakdown on stage and end up on the floor. because our music is like so real and it's like it's written about like things that we're actively going through as opposed to things we've gone through. Like a lot of times you go through something and you write a song about it. Like we're writing songs about the stuff we're still going through. And so like it just like reminds us of like how real these issues are, and then like being on stage and performing them, especially like when we feel so, it's just it like it can be just like, obviously we're a 3-piece band, but sometimes it feels like me and Danny are the only people in the room that are experiencing like the emotions to the severity that we are, and it's like it can feel very isolating, and like then we're on the floor and it's just like I don't know. We played book club recently, and it was cool because we were playing with a very trans band called The World in Broken Glass.
Okay.
But I ended up like just like screaming into the crowd like off the mic like for a good part of the show. Like whenever the drums and the guitars came down, I was off the mic like just retching my throat out.
I gotta see you live.
I'm surprised you haven't yet. Yeah, we actually planned some stuff off the mic for our release show too. Like there's a point in 2 different songs where like normally there's like drums and quiet guitar, but I was like, I want to cut everything out, and then me and Danny just both like off the mic screaming either at each other or into the crowd or at like whatever, like could be up, could be down, it doesn't matter, like we're just getting that out.
Release.
It's cathartic, and like it's sometimes it's like really actually negative. Like there'll be shows where like I can't talk to people for like at least 5 minutes after we're done with our set. Like I need to like bring myself back to feeling like a human again.
Like negative in the way that makes you feel negative afterwards, or the,
like I don't feel better afterwards. I think like in the end I do. You know, by the end of the day, like I'm glad I was able to release those emotions, but like it's such a negative headspace sometimes, and it's unfortunate because like those are real emotions and they need to exist.
Right.
Like anger helps you process injustice, it's a necessary emotion, and like sadness helps you process grief, and that's a necessary emotion. Like all these really uncomfortable, like anxiety, that helps you process stress, like all of these emotions are real and necessary and have places in our lives. And it's unfortunate that like there's a government and there's people that are like, you know, like our parents or whatever, that are like adding to those emotions and making them harder to process. But you know, they're real, they need to happen.
Yeah. And when you're playing live shows, do you have no idea what kind of emotions are going to come out at the time?
I want to say we have a great idea of it, but I think the release show is kind of proving that we don't know. For instance, like we generally are going into this knowing like there's a potential that one of us is going to end up crying, or one of us is going to end up on the ground, or one of us is going to end up, you know, throwing our instrument because we're just that, you know, in our heads and that like passionate and you know, that strong of a release. But like, this is crazy. I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here, I think.
Go for it.
But at the release show, like, I've told this story countless times already. It was insane. At the end of Death Before Detransition, the crowd was screaming back at us so loud that I couldn't hear my amp. I played through 140 watts into a 412, like, and I couldn't hear it because of how loud they were screaming Death Before Detransition back at us. And I got off stage and I felt like more whole and more like, I don't know, despite the fact that we end our set with such a sad song, like Death Before Detransition is our you know, resistant song. It's our prideful song. It's like we're here to exist no matter what. And then Scram's Gender is like saying that even if we're defiant, even if we are resistant, sometimes some of us are still going to die, and sometimes this still really sucks, and sometimes we are grieving, and sometimes, you know, it just really sucks to exist. So we end our set on a really like sad note. But like despite that, I felt like so like whole, you know, and I think it was because like that catharsis was not isolating at that point. Because our music was out, because other people could hear it and relate to it and sing it back at us, they were experiencing the catharsis with us. And when you like have a group of people together releasing anger and releasing sadness and releasing grief, they can kind of just like lean on each other. You know, you let all of this out and then it's gone, right? Or it's out in the space. I don't really not a spiritual person, but like you have to let your emotions out, right?
Yep.
And then what's left? Either you feel empty or you fill yourself with the love of the people around you. And I think like I felt very loved, and I felt that I was giving a lot of love. I felt like I was in a very, like, I don't know, it was such a beautiful space to just have like 100 trans people that were like all here together, like celebrating the same thing, which isn't me. It's not RIOTNINE that they're celebrating. They're celebrating transition. They're celebrating beauty. They're celebrating the fact that they lived through however many years they lived, and they're still living. And like that, like shared catharsis, like when you add community to that negative release of emotions, it becomes a positive rebuilding of emotions, I think.
Definitely.
That was my tangent.
Yeah. Holy shit.
So yeah, sometimes it's really
beautiful.
sad. Sometimes it's really bad. But like when we have our community, when we have our people there, and it's like just really togetherness.
Yeah.
I don't have a better word for it. I wish I had a better word for it, but I don't.
Yeah.
It makes me feel much better about, all of these things that we're going through, because we're going through them together.
Totally.
I mean, the sentence that I've said a million times is that like it was such a stark reminder that like we're so much louder together than we ever will be apart, and that means we're so much stronger and so much like more loving together than we ever will be apart. And like transness can be really isolating, because a lot of people, who don't understand transness or don't agree with transness, or even like other trans people that are introverts or scared of public existence, like it can be really, really isolating. And I almost every trans person I talk to is lonely as hell. And I can't sit around and wait for a community to happen.
Build one.
Yeah. It's
You're
DIY, you know what I mean? Like DIY applies to not just music. Like, oh, there's no venues, we're going to make our own, right? Oh, the government's not providing for our needs, we're going to meet our own. Oh, I don't have a sense of community, we're going to make our own.
Right.
I don't have merch, I'm going to make my own. DIY is more than just like about venues. It's also about like anarchy. Like it's political, it's social, DIY is a way of life.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so fortunate that shout out Cactus Club, we're going to talk about that, but what a better there's no better venue to host that kind of event.
No, like the fact that building was used as like a place for anarchists to gather. Like I don't remember how long ago. I remember reading about this, but like Italian American anarchists used to like have, I don't know, was it events? I don't really remember. What was something meetings? Yeah, some kind of like really cool stuff was going on there. I am blanking on what it actually was, but yeah. But
yeah. So the night went as well as you could have ever pictured.
Our performance, yeah. I mean, there were some hiccups along the way. One of the performers ended up having some really unfortunate train delays, and then getting there had technical difficulties, which was really sad. But we still ended up paying her, so it was okay.
Yeah.
Like she deserves the world.
And the national skate event went well too.
It was cool. It was really cool. Chill. It was there was a couple people there that had like no clue what they were doing. Like a couple people learning to skate for the first time.
Cool.
Which is like feels awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
it's such a scary thing for anyone to go to a skate park.
Yeah. Like I went to Estabrook the other day, and like dudes there are intimidating. Yeah. You know what I mean? I remember being like 12 years old and going to my hometown skate park, and dudes there were intimidating. Like it doesn't matter how old you are. Like you go there, and someone who like dresses well and carries themselves confidently and maybe looks a little bit like an asshole, like they're intimidating no matter how old you are. Like
totally. Especially when you feel like you're kind of entering like a space that they're already like filling up right now. It's hard to kind of make yourself feel comfortable in any kind of like social interaction, for sure. Yeah, I mean, said than done.
I think skate parks are one of those things where it's like you do have a lot of gatekeepy stuff, and sometimes it's hard to, like, those people might be super nice, but it's hard to like break into that, because they're either there alone, like, and want to be there alone, or they're there with their friends, and their friends are their friends.
Right.
You know, it's like going to a show alone is cool because you can just kind of sit there and watch. But there's nothing to watch when you have to bust your own ass at the skate park, you know?
Yeah.
So it was really cool to like have a non-gatekeeping, non-toxic, like just bunch of queer kids on skateboards and roller skates, like learning to skate.
Around,
and a lot of people did very, very simple things. There's a lot of people that were like failing to ollie, and that made me super happy. Like it made me super happy to like create that space that was not gatekeepy and it was not judgmental. It was just fun.
Yeah. Failure is a key to success, I guess, is what they say.
Yeah. Have you ever tried skateboarding? You know how many times you have to screw up before you land it? Like
there's something so therapeutic about just trying again and again and again, trying to get a trick, and then when you finally get it, it's just the best feeling.
It's so awesome.
The build
and
up.
I don't even like. I was never good at skateboarding. I did all the other ones like BMX and I rode the stupid scooters for a little while.
The razors.
I could do like a double tail whip on a big ramp, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? I was one of those nerds. But it's the same thing. I mean, you know, failing and screwing up your ankles and falling and
it relates
swearing
to
really
life
loud.
too. That's what I love about skateboarding is that I think it relates to your day to day. It's like if you're really trying to, I mean, even playing guitar.
Yeah.
It's like you're gonna mess up in the beginning for sure, but if you just keep working and keep practicing, you're gonna get good at it eventually.
I think
circumstances.
I'm gonna butcher this, but Ian MacKay one time said something like really, really insightful about skateboarding. Like a skateboarder's brain sees the world as like a world of opportunities, right? Like everything is a skatable thing, right? And if everything's a skatable thing, then everything is a marketable thing, or everything is an artistic thing, right? Like it doesn't matter which direction you take that. You could take it in like a corporate capitalist, like, you know, we're gonna sell this, or you could take it in an artistic direction, like whatever this is, we can build it, you know, and like you see a curb as something to stop a car from going off the road, and I see a curb as something to skate on, right? Like a skateboarder, you know, once you have that mindset, and like this relates back to what we were talking about, like DIY. Like if they're not going to build us a skate park, we're going to skate on the street, and we're going to see these stairs and these railings as opportunities as opposed to just daily things, you know.
Obstacles. They're more of like obstacles to overcome and do something cool on, and
it's totally like a mindset
skate and destroy
thing. Hell yeah. Skate
and destroy. Were you skateboarding at Estabrook or National, or
I was
biking, scootering?
Actually, this is even lamer than scootering. I have inline skates that have like little grind bars on them.
Cool. No, I got Sheila some for Christmas last year.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Rollerblading.
Sick.
They used to call me Fruit Booter.
Oh, I saw a video of you rollerblading.
Yeah.
You're throwing down.
In my hometown, they used to make fun of me. They called me Fruit Booter, which is funny because I'm the only one that turned out to actually be gay.
Fruit Booter.
Fruit Booter. They call me Fruity for riding the rollerblades.
Fuck yeah.
Which is super gay. I'm super gay. I own it.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not cool. I don't own I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to impress anyone. I'm just doing what I think is fun.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely. So yeah, I didn't know you. Is it rollerblade or inline skate?
They're inline rollerblades. Okay. They have like.
Is the one with the four wheels in front of each other or side?
They're
by
all
side?
inline. Like it's two little wheels with a grind bar in the middle, and like the ones that are designed for like doing tricks like go up your ankle higher, and they're like super stiff, so you don't like. Your ankle, you know what I mean? They're not like hockey skates.
So they do have the grind bar in the middle if you were to do like a sideways. Like,
that's
so sick. When we were in Europe, there was some inline skate stores all over Barcelona, and Sheila rented out some skates. I rented a skateboard, and some of those boots in there were so cool.
Yeah,
some of them looked like basketball shoes, or like,
I
don't know. They're just designed so smooth, and the colors, they're dope. They make me want to like take a bite of the wheel. They just look so appealing, you know.
Yeah. I mean, skate and punk has always been intertwined, so it's cool to like, I don't know, foster those communities to join together in a different way through like a queer lens. I don't know.
Did you participate in Pride Fest at all? this year?
I didn't. I went to Pride Fest last year, and I honestly didn't have a lot of fun. I think Pride Fest is made for, this might sound rude, but like a more quote unquote like normal like demographic of queer person. I think like specifically like cisgender white gay men is like the primary demographic that Pride Fest is marketed to, which I'm going to get to. This is not a bad thing. So I was in the car with Danny going over the Hone Bridge, and we saw like all the lights from Pride Fest. This was like, I think, on our way home from our own show. And Danny was like, Pride Fest looks so like lame and like disingenuous, like in comparison to like a mosh pit or a punk show or whatever. And I was like, well, I think like if every queer person deserves to have a space, right? And the largest demographic of those people is going to be the most socially accepted group, just because of like how, you know, being out works. Like if you're going to be out, there's going to be a larger percentage of people that are out that are in the demographic that is the most socially acceptable, right? Which is cis white gay men. Also, I think like allies and you know, the more like the people that aren't radical, the people that aren't anarchists, the people that aren't like loud and in your face, like they all deserve a place to go to celebrate Pride, right? And so that larger demographic needs Pride Fest. So I don't personally love Pride Fest. It feels capitalistic in nature. It feels like almost antithetical to like radical, you know, community, right? But that's not how other people feel. And all of those people, whether it's someone who is performing drag or whether it's an ally or whether it's a cis gay man, like all of those people deserve to have a place to go. And Pride Fest is amazing for that.
Yeah.
You know, and just because I don't personally feel super inclined to go there or spend my money there doesn't mean it's not a positive and impactful and important and necessary part of community.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody recently about I guess all Pride, and I can talk about it after this, but just kind of like the negatives to it, but also there are positives. And I went with my family the same night. That's why I wasn't at the release show, because I was at the Pride Fest as you were going over the bridge. But my younger brother is gay, and my whole family went, and he doesn't get out too often. He's pretty he's social in his own ways. Like he loves to game, and he's probably most social with his work colleagues, and but it was really special to just be there with my little brother and my family, and we're all just having a great time.
And that's what I mean, is like a demographic of people, like a family, right? That's more common than, you know, that demographic where it's like one gay sibling and a supportive family is much more common than my case, which is, you know, anarchist trans femme who wants to play super, super loud punk rock music. Like, so like the fact that you went to Pride and your family went to Pride and seemingly had a good time is amazing and great. Like, we need to have that. Like, and I think like, I don't know. I'm very like glad that I'm a radical and not, you know, following any societal norms about what, you know, womanhood looks like or what, you know, any kind of existence looks like. But everybody deserves a place, and Pride is for that, you know? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, that is interesting. Because I do like see both sides to it all, and it's like, you know, everyone does deserve a place to be. Yeah. That's awesome. I guess, yeah.
How about we talk about you, Parker? I heard
I feel like I'm so fuzzy brain today. I'm so sorry, Cleo.
You're good. What is it going to look like?
I had a crazy day at work today.
Yeah.
But after the morning I told you about earlier, but lots of running around. Summertime gets so busy at work.
I had a huge rush today. It was like the rush kind of weaned off, and then I was like trying to take care of this one customer and like kept like forgetting where everything was because I had just like been in rush brain for so long that like I just felt scattered. But
that was something I actually popped in my head about, maybe like I was going to bring that up on the podcast. There was a moment today where like literally what you just said, rush brain, where everything is just so hazy around you, and it's just like go, 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 go. And it's just like hyper focus, and yeah, that was me for about 2 hours today.
Yeah, same. It was rough. But I was gonna ask you, what is it gonna look like for Social Sig to be full time for you?
I'm so excited. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Basically, taking a lot of my time that I would be spending at work at an office job, and transforming that into basically almost like treating it like a 9 to 5 at my house. So
Yeah.
that means spending more time on booking, more time on marketing, and really just like networking and meeting up with more people, or working on more music, and then also doing more podcasts and kind of just like figuring it out as I go.
Yeah.
I do have some like long-term goals in this like next year, because I'm turning 25 in August, and so my goal is to really just like try it out for a year before I'm off my parents' insurance.
Smart.
And so really just gunning for it this next year.
Yeah.
And it's definitely the time to do it for my project, I feel, because
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
You know, we played kind of the Milwaukee scene out that I've by no means am I done playing the Milwaukee scene, but as far as like
you do have to slow down
getting outside
point.
of Wisconsin, definitely feels like the next step in what I want to do with it. And it definitely took some time to like think about, especially like when I was over in Europe. I had to do some deep diving and just really, because those questions do come up of like, do I really want to do this full time, and is this something I see myself doing for the next foreseeable future? And then I was like, it seems pretty it seems pretty good to also maybe just quit everything and just move to Europe for a little bit and just try to find a job and just hang out and live. But then on the other hand, I'd be giving up on everything I've been trying to achieve and work for with Social Sig and what I really do love. And also take some time to like look back and be like, what do I love and what do I not love, and what do I want to spend more time on? And
sure,
I want to spend more time on working on music and recording more and writing more, because this last winter I felt like I didn't have or make time for any of that.
Sure.
To even right now, like I've been steadily making album number 4, but nothing that I've like felt really deeply connected with like in the past.
Sure.
Lyrics are so hard to come by these days for me, so I think just taking time and being easy with it and not forcing is really important for me with that. But this is a long way of answering your question.
This is not just about you interviewing me. This is a communal conversation between both of us. So
and
take your time.
Just getting out of Wisconsin as much as possible, almost every weekend, is what I'm kind of shooting for. So trying to do like weekend runs to like Kansas City or Oklahoma or
100%,
Detroit or somewhere in Michigan, just do weekend runs. Or also I'll have time to do like bigger like 10-day solo tours if I want
100%.
to, you know?
Yeah.
Or with the full band if possible too.
Well, like Max Neiman of Diet Light has told me about like doing a little bit of like road stuff solo, and I think those were just like one-off shows that he's done. But it's like way more profitable to do it on your own. Like if you can make $50 a night as a solo performer, that's like infinitely more than $50 a night as a 4-piece.
100%.
And I've been having a lot of conversations with different people about the road, because I'm currently like in the process of figuring out like what's RIOTNINE going to look like in 2024, and I'm going to combine 3 different people's advice. The first person was, I guess it's all 3 members of Diet Light, who they booked with a booking agent who totally dropped the ball, and then like last minute had to book like 3 to 5 of their own dates. I don't remember quite how many. But when you are booking like 6 months in advance, you can find the good venues. You can find the Cactus Club of every city or the X-Ray of every city, right? And you can find, or even like honestly, like as a solo performer, the Bremen of every city, where it's just like maybe kind of a shitty dive bar, but it's got a crowd that's always there and a crowd that maybe will even listen to you.
Totally.
Like finding the venues that are actually legit venues, and then like it's actually kind of easy to tell from bands like Instagram presence if they're even a good band. It's not hard to tell if someone's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't mean to say that to like bring anybody down or anything. It's just like certain bands are working hard and doing cool stuff, and certain bands aren't. And it's pretty easy to tell like how hard they're like actually working on their art. So finding the good bands, and like, you know, like if you have one friend from Minneapolis who has one friend from Kentucky, right? Like now you have one friend in Kentucky, right? And that network goes way farther than any of us think. So all that to say, 6 months in advance, book a weekender. Like RIOTNINE's booking in January right now.
Jesus Christ.
And not that we're only booking in January. Like we don't have any shows on the books for December. We don't have any shows on the books for September.
Yeah.
Right. Or I should say I do have one for September, but like none for October, none for December. Like we're not exclusively booking in January, but if we want to get like a solid book club show with like a solid lineup, we're looking at January.
Right.
And so like booking out with good bands in the heart of the city, so you don't end up 30 minutes outside of the city with a high school band that brings their parents out. Second thing was from Nick of Frail Body, which is one of my favorite bands. Shout out Frail Body. He said like if once a month you can do 2 to 3 day runs, like you're golden, because like not everyone has the means to tour for 10 days or 20 days straight. Most people don't. And like getting your name out there, like pick a direction once a month and go down south, go out west, go out east, or go up north. Like, that's a great piece of advice, you know, is like pick a direction and just go in it, and you know, hit 3 cities that none of them are Milwaukee, right? And then in tandem with that, like Josh Rardin of the bands, he's in Lady Bird, OK Omen, and Live Tetherball, formerly of like a bunch of old cool bands that aren't around anymore. But he said like, to add on to Nick's advice, he said to visit the same cities when you go back.
Sure.
Like if you hit like, let's say you go to a smaller city like Kalamazoo, Michigan, right? Go to Kalamazoo again within like 6 months. Right. And in tandem with that, like a city like Kalamazoo, right, is like smaller cities. I've had great luck in small cities.
Yeah, I've heard Kalamazoo has a cool scene.
It's really cool. Yeah. So Kalamazoo is where the University of Michigan is, and there's not a lot to do there. It's kind of a similar vibe to like Whitewater, but less farmy and more like, it almost kind of like, when I spent a little bit of time there, it almost felt like Pacific Northwest, because it was like super rainy, it was super cold, and there's like a lot of hills, a lot of big trees. So it felt like almost like, where are we right now? This is in the Midwest. It's crazy. So at least where the area of the city that I was in, I can't speak for all of Kalamazoo, but from what I heard, there's like 5 active house venues in that little city at any time. And the show that I played there was with Fellow Kinsmen, and there was no locals on the bill. It was Fellow Kinsmen, and we're obviously from Milwaukee, and I think it was 2 Grand Rapids bands and a Chicago band, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on that. But I believe it was like there was 2 bands that were from Grand Rapids, which is not like it's not like Madison to Milwaukee. I think it's like a 2 or 3 hour drive from one to the other. So it's more like, you know, it's more like a Green Bay band or a, like, you know, I don't know, even like an Urbana band playing in Milwaukee. Like you're probably not going to draw a lot in Milwaukee. But there was like 75 or 100 kids in that basement, and they were all raging, and like every single one of them was like there for the music. Fuck yeah. And there was a couple people there that got like fucked up, but it wasn't anything like, you know, there's venues in Milwaukee that, you know, kids are just going there to get fucked up. And like, forgive me, but like there was a perfect like cool person to loser ratio at that Kalamazoo venue. There was like a couple dudes in like Batman t-shirts and like sweatpants, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. They probably just like played D&D before coming here. And like, no one there was like trying to be cool. No one there was like trying to be better than anybody else. They were just there for the music and like moshing crazy hard to bands that they never heard before.
That's sick.
So like smaller cities are cool.
Yeah.
So like all of the things, book in advance, find the cool bands. Second one was go on weekend runs all the time. Third one was hit the same cities. And fourth one was like give small cities a chance.
Right.
And like
There's
that's
markets in the small cities.
Yes,
wherever there's people.
And that's RIOTNINE's strategy for 2024 is
hell yeah,
go on weekend runs when we can.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're all busy, so it's going to be harder.
Mm-hmm.
But booking out in advance, giving small cities a chance, and then like we're doing a couple like in 2023, doing a couple like Chicago suburb shows that are between 30 minutes and an hour outside of Chicago.
Gotcha.
But if 10 people show up to that show and 3 of those people like us enough to drive a half hour, then we have a Chicago crowd too.
Totally.
So like,
totally.
It sounds way more like networky strategic than it really is. It's more just like, it feels more like playing a board game to me than it does like running a business.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like making friends. And
100%.
like, I would love to play a show and talk to somebody and like make a friend.
That's how we met.
And then literally, and then like I hope to see my friend again when I'm back in the city. Like
literally,
and then
100%.
likewise if they're a musician as well. It's like the cool thing about making relationships in with different bands and artists around at different states, because it's like I like especially people who have toured through Milwaukee that we've done shows with. They're some of the first people I'll hit up to be like, hey, I'm coming through your city. Like, are you guys around? To
100%.
Hang or do a show.
Or do a show together. Yeah, like, yeah. I mean, like I said, that's how we met. Like, that was a Farwell basement, I think.
Oh, yeah, no. We met at the Farwell basement. Yeah, for some reason I was thinking we met at the show you put together. But
we
definitely
met,
that.
Yeah, it was pre shaved hair era. it was middle part era Parker.
It was the middle part. No mustache.
Yeah, no mustache.
Totally. That was a 3-piece with Isaac Rapinski on bass.
Yes, that's where I met Isaac too.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that was a fun show.
Shout out Isaac, like not only one of the most talented people in the scene, but like also one of the sweetest people in the scene.
Yeah, I fucking love Isaac.
What a great dude.
Yeah. A little belated birthday shout out to Isaac Rapinski, everybody.
Happy birthday. I don't know how old you are. We're not close like that.
He's still young.
He's still young.
But that show was funny because so Sheila used to live at that house, and she was living there at the time that party happened, but she had the lower with some friends, and then some friends of hers were in the upper, and they had this big, I guess, coming together party, and there was going to be a Grateful Dead cover band playing in the basement from Madison. And they canceled like 2 days before the show, and so I know like all of her friends at this time, and they obviously know I do music, and they're like, "What are the odds you can do like a house show like in the basement?" Like,
so you brought your own PA and everything.
Brought the Bose speaker. The vocals could have been louder that night, but just set up and put it on Instagram, and it was fucking packed.
That was a crazy night.
We're the only one on the bill. Too.
Yeah, no, it was like you played for like 40 minutes or something, and
like that's all of our songs.
Yeah, that was really cool.
How did you hear about it?
I think I must have seen it on Instagram.
Instagram
that same day, I was recording up in Oshkosh with my old band. Shout out and rest in peace, Tacoma Washington Weekday Club.
Right. That's right.
So we were recording the album that actually never came out. So we were up in Oshkosh recording at a studio that doesn't exist anymore. The name is not important. Disaster Peace Records.
Okay.
We were there recording, and I saw like on Instagram like, oh, Social Sig's playing a show. I want to see Social Sig. I want to see how that goes. Whatever. And I like hit up a bunch of friends who wants to go to a house show on the east side. And got a couple of friends together, and we all went to a completely random. Like I remember going to the door, and they're like, who do you know here?"
Right, because it was like friends, but also like
it was more of like a legit party setting too. Like I'm not like a fratty person. I don't really party. So I was like, it's like a little weird. I was like, I'm here to see the band. But yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Very fun. Tacoma Washington Weekday Club, they asked me to do a verse on a song for that album that never came out. And I did do one, and I wasn't very proud of it.
I heard it, and it sounded awesome.
Oh, you liked it? Oh, cool. I don't really remember, but I was like, I feel like I could have done better, but it was kind of rushed because I wanted to get it to them like fast.
That was so... Little spoiler alert for the album that never came out. We had Social Sig featured. We had Valerie Lightheart featured. We had Amanda Huff featured. We had Day 2,
Oh my god.
Kid Caldwell. We had Nile X Nile.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And that album never came out. It's still in the archives. And it probably will never be released because like I've kept up in contact with Logan, you know, the main songwriter of that band, and he's not as interested in the ego of that record because it was a very egotistical record. It's like, oh, we're going to like show off how cool we are, and like we're going to get all these, like we're going to prove to Milwaukee that we're legit. We're going to have like the craziest feature list ever, you know.
Sure.
Diet Light was featured on there too, and this was before Diet Light blew up too. So this was crazy. Like the feature list was absolutely absurd. And like Logan does, like he felt like this urge to like prove himself to people that like we never like were invited to the Whammies or anything, and like we were never invited to the back room or anything. And he was like, I need to prove myself. And so we wrote this record, and it's really well written. Like, don't get me wrong, I love this record. But I think a lot of us have like kind of matured since then. Yeah. And we're like, you know what, if we're going to do music again, it's going to be a little bit more like just laid back and for us. You know, it might still sound like punk, but it's going to be, you know, we're just making this music just to make this music. It's not for making it big. We're not trying to be the next big thing, having huge light shows and whatever. It's just more, you know, maybe even folk music. Who cares? Yeah. It's music.
That can definitely be an intimidating factor as far as like if you're not, I guess if you don't know many people in Milwaukee and you're a musician, you're trying to like start out and you see everyone. I think that, I mean, talking with some people who've been there as well, you can kind of fall into this false idea of who you're trying to be. Oh, and that's in any regards too, like as far as like my buddy who's a videographer was kind of saying the same thing of like when he first moved to Milwaukee, he was trying to like shoot with all like the kind of higher, like more, I guess, established artists.
Sure.
And to the point where he wasn't even enjoying it because like it's just like I really like to shoot with my friends more than people I kind of pretending to like.
And that's the thing is if you're doing art for any period of time, you're going to realize that like clout kind of doesn't exist and it doesn't matter. Like I would argue that you and Diet Light are the two biggest artists in the city. I mean, maybe add Bug Moment to that list or something like that. And like I consistently talk with all three of you.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like I don't think of myself as being a big artist either. I'm just like a punk who makes music. And like you are not like above just sitting down and chatting with me. Neither is Diet Light. Like I invited Jasmine over to my house at like 11 o'clock the other night. She's the only person in the world that I can invite to my house at 11 p.m. and it's not weird.
Fuck yeah.
I like came home from a show. I'm like, do you want to come over?
Yeah.
And she's like, yes.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
So we just like listened to records and like it was just like chill, you know?
Hanging out.
Yeah.
Definitely. And summer's been so great for that lately too.
Yeah, I'm so glad it's summer. I'm so glad it's summer.
Right when I came back from Europe too, I had a lot of like still lots of like by no means was I kind of it took probably about like last week or two I'm kind of feeling really confident in doing this whole full-time thing, but right when I got back from Europe too, I was still just kind of feeling it out, like what if I just moved to Europe and just like left everything, and which means like leaving my friends and being back in Milwaukee when it was warm. I saw so many friends in such a short duration of time.
Locust Street.
Without like even trying to make plans either. It's just like, what the fuck? Just running into people. It's so fun.
So fun. Locust Street was crazy. I remember, so in my hometown, we used to do this thing called Friday Night Live. Are you aware of Friday Night Live?
Friday Night Live.
Yeah. So the center of downtown Waukesha is like
kind of like a live music kind of
thing.
So
what the geography of downtown Waukesha is there's like a 5-point intersection in the center, and then it's like spokes that go out in every direction. Okay. And what Friday Night Live is they have like one band in the center, and then on each one of the spokes they have a band, and then inside at bars you have bands too.
Oh Jesus.
And the thing about Waukesha is it's mostly like blues bands and cover bands, country, rock and roll, just very like, for lack of a better word, lame music. a lot of really old people with, you know, that probably wear red hats.
People love it.
I mean, people love it, but the people are also Waukesha people that love it. So, I mean, it's cool that we had live music. But like, I used to go there like every Friday because it would happen every Friday through the summer, and I would just run into people I knew. I could just go alone because I would just find people I knew.
Totally.
And like going to Locust Street Fest was like, it was so rad to do the same exact thing like 4 years later, but like people knew me by my real name and like people addressed me as who I am, and like very fucking cool and like rewarding experience to be like, yeah, I do actually have people who love me, and I do actually have people who care and
want to see you, and then are
excited I want to see all of these people too. It's like so much like the girl that sold me my bike last summer was like, "Hi, Cleo," and I was like, "Holy shit, you're here!" Like,
fuck yeah!
And it's like, yeah, just so many homies. Like, I went to go see Ladybird first thing I got there, and like all the lakefront homies were there, and like I know a lot of lakefront people because I'm good friends with Dylan from Garden Home and Sam from Snag, and that was cool. And then come in to see, who did I see next?
I missed Garden Home set.
It was really solid.
I've never seen them, but I see their name like all the time.
So it was a little interesting because normally their mix is like very guitar heavy, very bass heavy, and then vocals are a little lower in the mix, like typical screamo, like what you'd expect. Okay. But because it was like a festival setting, like the sound guy was like, "Can we turn down the amps just for today?" And they were like, "Yeah, we can turn down the amps for today. It's not a problem."
Yeah, interesting.
And so their vocals were like more forefront in the mix this time, which different but very cool. Like I got to like really like hear the intricacies of Dylan's voice in a way that I usually don't get to, because he's like one of the like more like skillful and like well-rounded harsh vocalists that I talk to on a daily basis. Yeah. And so like to hear his like really sweet like Warped Tour fry scream, like I was like, dude, you're actually like so good at what you do. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So why is it is it common in all kind of screamo music that the vocals are kind of pushed back in the background?
I don't know exactly why. The reason I wanted it for my record personally is because I wanted to kind of sound like a basement show. I wanted to sound like you can't always hear the vocals at a DIY show. Right. And like what I told to our producer is like, here's the Frail Body record. This is like my biggest inspiration for guitar tone. So like do with that what you will. Mm-hmm. And then also I want it to sound like high fidelity basement show. So like good guitar tone, good bass tone, vocals that sound, like well done, but put it through a tape filter, right? Like put some stupid reverb on it that sucks. Mm-hmm. Like I don't, you don't want it to sound sterile. You want it to sound really raw and like, there's a lot of people like screamo and otherwise will make the mistake of over sterilizing their music. And like, I know like Dylan told me, we met for coffee recently. He was like, yeah, I left a voice crack in one of the new songs, and that's like a big step. And I was like, I'm glad you did. Hey. You know what I mean? Like Garden Home is a very well produced band too. Like they have Cody Ratley produce their stuff, and I don't know, are you familiar? Shame Wave and World I Hate.
Shame Wave, yeah.
Cody is the drummer of the hardcore band World I Hate. He's the front man of Shame Wave, and also like phenomenal producer. Okay. Like phenomenal. Like I've heard a couple of his like examples, and I'm like, sick. Wow.
Yeah, I saw Shame Wave played Chill on the Hill.
He played Chill on the Hill. It's so.
Was that last night? Or was that last week?
That would have been last week.
Last week. Okay.
But yeah, he produces the Garden Home stuff, so it's like very well produced shit. But yeah, I mean like. Like, are you gonna keep that in there? Like, yeah, I'm gonna keep that in there. Like singing about real shit. So sometimes our voices fail us, and like you need to let that failure speak for itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's produced so well. It's insane. The vocals and what you were saying before with the like you can't really hear what what the lyrics are, but every now and then I'll hear a word or phrase.
Oh, you're talking about the RIOTNINE EP? Yeah.
It just makes you kind of feel something, like you're at like you said, to your point, in a DIY house show. Sometimes the one little lyric that I take away from the night from a show is the one that sticks the most. And just like, whoa, then you sit with it for a while.
90% of that record was Danny's lyrics. He's a really talented and special dude. Definitely helps that he's an English major, but like that's kind of besides the point. Yeah, his lyrics are really, really cool. Like there's a line on Isolated that like every time I hear it, it hurts my like physical chest. It's let me figure out how it starts. My brothers, my sisters, my siblings are face down, dead, drowning, draining of a life I understand far too well to not feel a piece of my body beaten until my body is beaten until my body is no more. So like we repeat the beaten until my body is like a bunch. And And just like watching fascism happen in real time and being like, holy shit, this is real. And like, I understand all of these people on such a deep level and what they're going through. And I'm going through the same, but in like a different way. Like what we're going through in Wisconsin is far different than what Florida's going through right now. Like people who are literally having their care restricted from them, yeah, really, really scary shit.
Yeah. What can, I guess, anyone do to, I guess, support and help the trans community?
I think the biggest thing for any, and I guess the easiest thing too is just like listen. Like when you listen to the RIOTNINE record, listen to what we're saying. Like we're not a voice for everyone, but we're a voice for us. And we try to speak to not just our personal, things that we're going through, but like the community's things that we're all going through. We decided like monetarily to, not take anything home from that show. We paid Flowers her share, and then both Blind Equation and Social Caterpillar donated their share as well to the sum. So at the end of the day, the donating sum that we had before merch was around $2,000. And we decided like the best way to monetarily support trans people is to divide it in half, one to like a political organization and one to like a community organization. And like a political organization will like write lawsuits against the state. They will lobby against anti-trans legislation. They will lobby for, pro-trans legislation. They will, it's more of like a political action type of organization. And then you have community organizations that are more like, it's more similar to like a food pantry or like, oh, your parents kick you out for being gay. Here's a cot to sleep on for the night. Like we can't we can't be a shelter forever, but we can give you a place to stay for the night, like at least out of the cold. There's community centers all across the country that are, not only are they like for people with dire needs, like to sleep and to eat, they're also like, hey, we're going to do an ice cream social. You want to come over and like be like weird introverts together
like
and
human,
like, yeah, 100%. Like the community is so important. So there's political organizations, community organizations. So for our political organization, we decided to donate to American Civil Liberties Union of Florida because a lot of states are going through a lot of bad shit right now, but with like Ron DeSantis and his legislation on the rise, like he's going after more than just trans rights. He's going for, he was like trying to ban African American studies and Jewish studies and like all these like doing all these horrible things. And
like, what are the motives with that?
An uneducated public is easier to control, and someone who doesn't understand their neighbor is more prone to fear them. So if you don't have an understanding of like the people around you, you can feel isolated from them, and isolated people are always more easy to control. Like the reason that like racism exists is because like people out in the country don't have community with people of color, so they fear them, right? Or people that are like wealthy, white conservatives, right? They don't understand other cultures other than their own, so they fear it. And so it like isolation, fear, loss of community, and also like the combativeness towards anything that is like seen as quote unquote woke is also like just super destructive, because they can just slap the word woke on anything and then all other people hate it and it's pointing fingers immediately. So that's why we decided to donate to Florida, because like the rise of fascism in many states is concerning, but in Florida it seems to be maybe the most concerning. So we donated $1,000, or just over $1,000. It was like 1,024 or something to the Civil Liberties Union, which they're a group of people that they write lawsuits against the state when the state does really fucked up shit, etc. They're more of a political action organization. And then the other half we donated to the Milwaukee LGBT Resource Center. So it's a community organization. I've been there a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like I went to an ice cream social there. It was just like a bunch of like super weird misfit queers that like didn't have a place to go, and then there was a place to go. And like, I don't know, like queerness is the rejection of all societal like expectations of what relationships look like, and that includes the relationships like platonically too. So like no one was there was like trying to like seem cool or dress well or whatever. They were just like there because they needed a place to go. And maybe those like people were not just queer but also like neurodivergent, and they're just different people, like people that are just, they don't fit into society's mold and they really needed somewhere to go. Right. And so they went there. And I don't know, like that was really, really special to go there and just like experience that, just like community with people that needed it, because we all really need it. So we donated $1,000 to there as well. So,
and they have like donation spots on their website.
We actually, this was really cool. So, in order to like reduce the amount of taxes that were put on this donation, instead of Kelsey giving me a check and me cashing it and then donating it, Kelsey just literally donated directly to the website from Cactus Club.
Fuck yeah.
So actually Cactus Club gets a sweet tax break at the end of this year too. So we're kind of like, it's just like a revolving door of like, let's just make cool shit happen and support the community.
Yeah. That's so badass. Yeah. What's that? I know, I have to pee so bad too. Here.
All right. This week I've been listening to a lot of folk music. Jason Isbell just dropped a new record, and he's I was like, in terms of like solo artists, like definitely my favorite artist of all time.
Jason Isbell?
Isbell. Yeah, like Isabel without an A.
Okay.
And he's a country Americana guy. He started, releasing music under his own name. I want to say it was like 2009.
Okay.
Like between like 2009 and like 2012, like somewhere in
he's
that.
a little bit older now.
Yeah. Okay. So he started actually in a band called the Drive-By Truckers, which is like a southern rock kind of band.
Yeah.
And then eventually he quit that band and like started doing solo stuff. Released a couple albums under his name, and then started a band that was seemingly, I don't really know, like don't quote me on this, but seemingly a little bit more collaborative, and it's called Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit. So he did a couple records with the 400 Unit. Just dropped a new one with the 400 Unit. I haven't like done a full like deep listen of it yet, but like because he dropped that record, I went back and listened to some of my old favorites of his. I think like folk and screamo are like my two main genres, and it's
so interesting.
It's so funny. I do have a little like, this is I mean maybe a tangent, but I think folk and screamo are super similar.
Interesting.
Because like Scram's screamo, like specifically like emotional hardcore, like that vein of the music is like.
Is that what Scrams is?
So, should I go on the little history?
Yeah,
should I do the little thing? Okay, so
I feel like I remember you talking about Scrams at on Sunday night.
Was that
maybe?
What do you mean Sunday night? Where were we at?
Aiden's place.
Oh yeah, at Aiden's place. That's right. So in like the late 90s, I'm gonna just very paraphrased, but late 90s, early 2000s, there was music that some people called it screamo, some people called it emotional hardcore, some people just called it hardcore. It was different than like punk hardcore. It was, there was more like, it was a little bit like less like angry and chuggy and a little bit more like anxious and frantic. And so like this was like the bands that were like the biggest at the time, I want to say, like Orchid or Page 99. And some people called it screamo, some people called it hardcore or emotional hardcore or whatever you want to call it. And that kind of continued into the early 2000s, and you had like, a couple different like styles of it. Some were more melodic, some were more rhythmic, some were more frantic, whatever you want to describe it as. And then like in like the mid to late 2000s, MySpace became a thing, and then you had bands that were popping up like like Attack or Pierce the Veil, or like you'd call it like Warped Tour or Mall Screamo, like something you'd hear in Hot Topic. Very very much like coming from like a more like metalcore background, and all of those bands are good. I'm saying this intentionally. A lot of people were like, oh, that sucks, we don't like that, that's not screamo, that's not real screamo, that's not hardcore, whatever. So they invented a new word to call screamo, because everybody was calling this screamo. Attack was screamo, Pierce the Veil was screamo, whatever. And so you had people like, okay, we need a new word, and someone was like, well, Scrams, SKRAMZ.
So you don't know who did it.
I don't know. I think someone one time on like an internet post was like, "Yeah, I traced back the first use of the word scrams," and because everything was online already at that point, like you can like physically trace back the first use of it. I don't really know if I trust that opinion, but
so it's a different kind of screamo.
So the people that were continuing to make music like 90s screamo started calling it scrams to differentiate from like the more
newer
from the newer
screamo,
wave or like more pop or more like metalcore
remember
oriented.
Attack has had more of like a hyper like screamo. I don't know,
it was weird. They had like breakdowns and then they had like auto tune in the choruses and stuff. Yeah. So like people would call that screamo, and then like the scrams people were like, no, that's not real screamo, so we're gonna call our music scrams, and so that's where that term comes from. Super dumb. It's super dumb. It's just a made up word that means nothing.
I like it though.
Why was I talking about this? Where did we start? What I'm listening to and how it's similar to folk music.
Yeah.
Okay, so screamo specifically, screamo. Specifically, like scrams is like similar to folk music to me because none of it is predicated on like how much you can innovate or how much you can advance art for the sake of art or how much you can be different than the person before you. It's just predicated on being genuine. And like a lot of those bands sound like exactly the same as someone else in that same scene. And like no one bats an eye at that. It's like if it's real, if it's passionate, if it's not like a facade, then we like it.
Yeah.
Like RIOTNINE sounds a lot like Frail Body sometimes, and I'm not ashamed of that because Frail Body's an awesome band, and I'm learning from them.
Yeah.
And like in pop and in rock, you have this like idea that you need to be different. You need to have a different chord progression. You need to sound different than everybody else.
That.
Yeah, no, like for real. Like there's whole bands like my old band Tacoma Washington Weekday Club. Like we spent a lot of time trying intentionally to be different and like just be yourself.
Yeah.
And it's okay to sound like the person before you if you're genuinely in a real way inspired by that person.
Yep. My rule of thumb is always just like if it came out genuinely and naturally and you weren't intentionally like, I'm going to do this because this person did it.
Yeah, 100%.
I love that. I'm really, as far as my songwriting goes, I'm really attracted to those kind of inner, like those writing modes.
Yeah, and so like folk music, like this is a great example. Colter Wall has covered Townes Van Zandt songs on like every one of his records. And
Townes Van Zandt, I don't know if I know that.
He was most active I think in the 70s. Okay. His self-titled record.
So Colter Wall covered him in most of his new records?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So, and like in folk music, it's not a problem to cover someone else's song. In folk music, it's not about being new and different. It's about being genuine. And if you genuinely love a Townes Van Zandt song enough to spend money on recording it and like doing it in your own style, like cool. Yeah. Like that's how folk music, like pick up a guitar and strum Amazing Grace. Like that is a song that has gone back hundreds of years. And I don't even know if we know who wrote it. Like I'm sure you could find it in a book or on Wikipedia or whatever, but like I don't know who wrote it, and it doesn't matter. Like if I play that song and if it comes from the heart, it's real. And a lot of folk music is just covering or copying or replicating or carrying on the tradition of someone else.
Sure.
And that relates to screamo, I think. A lot of screamo is, for lack of a better word, like following a certain tradition. Like obviously tradition is meant to be broken. We can break molds when we feel that it's necessary, and we can, do things that we feel are genuine and real, but it's not predicated on that. It's just about being genuine. Right. So if you sound just like Kodan Armada, or if you sound just like Orchid, like that's okay, as long as you're real. And like the same so like if I sound just like John Prine, it's okay as long as it's real. Right.
So as long as it's real, are there bands that have been in the screamo scene that had been called out for not being real?
Not to my knowledge. Yeah. It's kind of a dumb genre to pretend to like, because it's like screamo's so funny because you alienate like a pop music crowd because you're abrasive, and I think you're like a lot of screamo is intentionally abrasive, and I like that. It's like not to scare people off, but just to like. These emotions are so visceral that we need to capture how visceral they are by being abrasive. And it's not intentionally to scare anyone off. It's just intentionally to be like super raw, right?
Right.
And on the other hand, there's like music purist people that are like, well, it sounds just like that one from 20 years ago, so whatever. Like, if you're not innovating in music, then like the Radiohead nerds are not going to like you. And if you're not like making music that's palatable, the general music audience is not going to like you either. So you kind of alienated like most people by making screamo in the first place.
Sure. Right.
From liking your band. But what you get in the middle of those two is people that are just passionate about music that feels real.
Right.
And so like I don't know if there's bands out there that are making scrams and they're like doing it for clout, because I don't really think there's much clout to be had here. Like, like I'm kind of making a genre that most people just don't like. Like if I went to work and went to Anodyne Coffee and put my record on the stereo, people would be like, please turn this off. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's a very neutral thing. But I'm making screamo because it's real, not because it's clout or anything. Like there's no clout here. There's none.
So when you're playing with let's say like fellow kinsmen,
sure,
do you find, how does that differ from playing music with RIOTNINE?
They're both similar because in both bands I like do whatever I can to like play my instrument to the absolute best of my ability. Like in RIOTNINE, we're always changing the songs and always innovating on them well after they've been recorded to like make them more interesting to us specifically, but also like to people watching.
Yeah.
Same is true for Kinsmen. Like I'm on my bass in fellow Kinsmen, like I'm always trying something new. And generally when I'm on stage, it's like, okay, let's try what we just did in practice. Like try something new in practice and see if it works, and then apply that to the stage. RIOTNINE, it's similar, but like, I don't know, playing in fellow Kinsmen is emotional in a very different way. It's a more like, hell yeah, dude, kind of exciting. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of times throughout the set that I'll like turn around to Dwayne and like give him knuckles. Like, oh, that was sick. You know what I mean? Like I love watching bands like, oh, you know what I mean? And that's how fellow Kinsmen is for me. And like in practice, RIOTNINE can be like that too. But like for fellow Kinsmen, performing it's a little bit more just like fun and carefree, and also like it's a little bit more of a performance too. Like in RIOTNINE, I am more likely to kind of turn away from the crowd a little bit. It's more of just like a release of emotion. It's not, there's no ego there.
Totally,
there's no like no rock star shit. Like if people, I'll play on the floor instead of on the stage because, I want to be a part of the audience. Or I don't have a light show. I have one light shining up on me for the entire show, and it doesn't change. Like no rock star shit. Yeah. Whereas in fellow Kinsmen, I have some rock star shit.
Right.
I play a little bass solo. I put my foot up on the monitor and headbang. You can bring out those sides of yourself, like, and not to say that I have like a big ego or whatever, but like it's fun to put your foot up on the monitor. You know what I mean?
Totally,
you get it.
Totally.
And so in fellow Kinsmen, there is a little bit of rock star shit that happens, and I'm not opposed to that in a band that's like that. In a band that's more
nice
like,
that you can get a little of both.
100%.
Projects that you're in.
And even still in Kinsmen, it's genuine. Like, I remember like bringing up Isaac Rapinski again. He came to the album release show. It was like on Halloween night, and he was there. And he was up on. We were playing at Arts at Large, and there's a balcony up there. Were you at that show? Maybe.
No, but I've been to that space. Yeah.
So there's a balcony up there, and I saw where Isaac was standing. And like when I was about to do some cool shit, I looked up at him, and I would maybe even point at him, and then I would do some cool shit because he inspired me to play bass in like a much more involved way. Like when I first met him, like at that show with Emmett Mulroney and with you, he was still playing bass for you, and he like really inspired me to take bass really seriously. Like he was like, as much as we don't know each other super well, he was a huge catalyst for that. And so, really cool how much that little show changed.
Did you say Emmett was at that show too?
I played bass for Emmett at that show.
Oh, the one that we played at the in Waukesha.
The Waukesha one, yeah. Sorry,
totally.
I should have clarified that better.
No. It's all good.
So that's when I met Isaac, and he really inspired me to like take bass more seriously and like really be involved with the instrument. So like getting to like have that like reconnection with him, like, and be like, hey, yo, check this out. And like, so, I mean, you could call that ego, or you could just call that fun. I don't know which one it is. It might be both, but I don't know. Fellow Kinsmen's my place for that.
Yeah. That's fucking sick.
I'm going to be putting my foot on the monitor for like half the set at Turner Hall.
Oh, absolutely. You are.
That's going to be a crazy. I'm so stoked.
So fucking insane. Can I say I'm so happy that Dwayne is drumming with Kinsmen, because Dwayne is my my homie since.
Oh, you go way back?
Oh yeah, we
Hell
go
yeah.
way back. Yeah, and Dwayne is one of the coolest, most talented, nicest, genuine motherfuckers I know.
I didn't know he was a good drummer
love
until I like saw him
Dwayne.
drum, and like
Dwayne is a badass motherfucker on drums. Yeah,
he like picks stuff up so fast. And we were jamming at my place last night.
He feels it too.
Yes,
really
he knows exactly what to do, and he's like, we can like communicate a lot. Like I will like literally turn around and yell at him during our set and be like, "Go to halftime," you know what I mean? Like just like dumb shit like that. And like we are very in sync. We were jamming at my place last night, and he did something by accident that was like one of the coolest things that Fellow Kinsman has ever done.
Oh fuck!
We took a song and like it's like a standard like rock and roll kind of indie rock song, maybe even a little surfy. But we started out with like a train beat on the drums.
Oh sure, yeah.
And then like I'm playing like fifths on the bass, so it's so it sounds like super country, yeah. And then Will obviously has the slide guitars for like super yeehaw for like 10 measures, right?
Sure.
And then we play the song, and at the end of the song, there's like we slow it way the fuck down, and it almost kind of sounded like a metal breakdown.
Oh shit!
So it's like we're touching on like so many genres in one song, and like at the end he just started like. It was just like one of my cymbals is like cracked to shit, so it sounds almost like a china. It's just like, and I was playing like big fat chords on the bass, and I was like, this sounds like kind of metal right now. Yeah, like how did we go from like yeehaw to indie rock to metal like completely by accident and super organically in one song?
Fuck yeah.
It's like we jam for so long that if we have a 30-minute set, we might put 4 or 5 songs on the set, like because we just jam like
totally.
Yeah. Turner Hall is gonna be
nuts.
Nuts.
It's gonna be
I'm gonna like get my grandma to come out to that shit. I don't care.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. I'm getting everyone I possibly know to that show. It's gonna be so fucking fun.
And like the cool thing about Fellow Kinsman too is like it's just as genuine as RIOTNINE, but in like such a different way. So like I can like invite people like my grandma to Fellow Kinsman shows.
Oh, right.
Because you know it's not it's intense, but in like intensely musical way, not quite as like raw and offensive.
Well, you know, like when even just you explaining emo and screamo culture,
sure,
and just like the emotion behind the shows and kind of like the release aspect of it, like I didn't really know about that before today, and that just makes me even want to see that live even more. So do you think it's just a lack of knowledge in the general public of like, this is why we do this? Because I think that people might just think of screamo as like, oh, they just like that kind of music and that's that, and it just sounds like that. But it's deeper than
I mean, but some people don't want their music to be deep like that. Some people just want their music to be fun to listen to.
That is true.
Like I had a decent phase of my life where I was listening to a lot of the 1975 because I didn't really want to like care about like as much of like what my music was like saying on a grander scale, but I just wanted to have like there's like the 1975 self-titled record is just like a fun album of like summer bops. Like obviously they get more conceptual later in their career, but like I don't really listen to them anymore because like a lot of the music that I'm going to now is a little bit more like visceral. But like for a while I listened to their music a lot and
such a good band.
They're a great band.
They're the 1975 for a reason.
And I kind of hate them, but I love them.
Right. They're like the One Direction of Europe. Or no, Dove. One Direction is from Europe. Jesus
they are.
Christ. They're the Jonas Brothers of Europe. There we go.
But you know, like very like simple 4 on the floor pop music rules, and so like some people don't want their music to like cause that like visceral reaction, and I think that's okay. Like that, not everybody needs to like challenge everything all of the time. Like sometimes you can just exist, and like sometimes I just want to listen to Pine Grove and pretend I'm 14 again. You know what I mean? Like, you get it. So yeah, I think like screamo, it's provocative in a way, and also like the world doesn't always need it. I will be the first to admit that the world doesn't need screamo all the time. Like, you know, like some people, like sometimes, you know, the release show, that was great. It was a great release. It was a great, connection of community. But like if all you do is that, it's really intense and overstimulating, and it's sometimes like not always great, you know. And so like having Fellow Kinsmen to be like, my grandma might actually enjoy coming to a fellow Kinsman show. She might actually enjoy the music a little bit. It might be louder than anything that she'd listen to, but it like that's the most punk that most of my family would go. His, Bug Moment, Diet Light, Social Sig, Fellow Kinsman, like that's the most punk a lot of people will go. So like
it's a good, I guess, mixture of I guess without going too like out there, I guess. I don't experimental. I'm not sure.
Well, not even experimental, just abrasive, without being so abrasive that you're turning people off,
Right. Like you can mosh, but you don't have to.
Yeah. What I love is a band that is so good that you can't mosh to them.
Diet Light was putting on a pretty fucking solid set at Locust Street Festival.
I missed it because I was doing sound check with Motel Breakfast.
Oh sure, yeah. Wait, were you doing sound check for them? Or?
I played bass for them at their last show.
Oh shit! Wait,
yeah.
On Sunday?
Yeah.
Wait, so you're at Locust Street and then you played the show?
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw you at
and then I went to 2 different parties. Yeah, you saw me at the first of 2 parties of that night. Yeah, so
oh my god.
My day started at 3 p.m. I went to Locust Street, caught like 3 or 4 bands, saw a bunch of people.
Saw me freaking out. I wasn't really. I was just hectic.
You're like, what's going on? Yeah. I like barely even talked to you.
I know. I didn't even see you.
He's like, he's so stressed. Yeah.
It was all good though.
And then I booked it to the back room to do sound check, and I never even had a full rehearsal with the band. So I was like, hey, Jimmy, after sound check, can we write down the chords for the songs? Nice. And he's like, yeah, we can do that. And it was honestly, playing a set with them was really refreshing and vindicating of the work that I've put into music, because I was like, I don't know what the drum beats are. I don't know where the dynamics are. I know the chords of each verse and chorus, but I don't know the changes.
Yep.
And I don't know when the song ends, and you can't just keep playing. You need to know when it ends.
Right.
And Jesse, bless his heart, the drummer of Motel Breakfast, I love that guy. He was not giving me shit. He was not looking at me like he just must be so used to Mick knowing everything. Yep. I think Mick's
Drew.
No, Drew, not Mick. Mick's the guitar player. So used to Drew knowing
Where
every
was Drew
note.
At?
Gone fishing. I don't know.
For real?
No, I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I didn't pry. They were just like, oh, he can't make it
Okay,
tonight.
yeah. He's like the one Milwaukee dude that lives out of... Oh.
I don't know.
Well, anyways.
I don't know where Drew was, but I think Jesse must be so used to Drew just knowing everything and all of the endings. 'Cause I'd be the same way if I was Evan of Diet Light. I wouldn't be staring at Kelso like, hey, do you know this change, right? You just know when you're in the band together.
Your performance.
Yeah, and so that's what Jesse was doing, was putting on his performance, but I had to be so intuitive of every single change. Right. I was like, it was, but it was really cool. It was really cool to just jump in like head first and be like, okay, I'm doing this.
Yep.
And then accomplishing it, I had a couple screw ups, as you might imagine, everybody does. But it felt really cool. Damn, I've played bass for however many years. I'm not even going to count right now. And then I finally am able to just play.
Just hop up on
just
stage.
Just play, you know what I mean?
It.
And Mick was across the stage from me, and he was kind of giving me some looks here, we're going to change here. And Jimmy was doing a little bit of that too. Yep. But yeah, it was fun as hell. And then booking it right after the set.
Who was on that show?
Dust Bowl Revival. Okay. I don't know if you know them. They're a little bit more I think they call themselves Neo Soul. They had some some horns on stage, some keys on stage, and I heard them sound check. It was a little funky too.
Was Motel the headliners, or they were?
No,
opening?
we were opening.
Oh, damn, sick!
And it was just a 2-band bill. And right after our set, there was 20 people there. I wasn't worried about it. I booked it to Gray's party, and on my way out of Gray's party is when I ran into you. And then after that, I booked it to Sam Ergani and Anna Rardin, just moved in together. Yeah. They just moved in together and had a housewarming party. Cool. By the time it hit whatever time it was, 10 p.m. or whatever, there was only 5 30-year-olds left. And they were all just super high and listening to Death Cab and eating Oreos. I'm like, yes, this is my kind of party. Yeah. My favorite kind of party is playing video games and listening to Death Cab. Just it's the best vibe ever.
Sunday was nice too, because I got home around 10:30, but I felt like I had a full ass night just from Locust Street, and then I hung out with Bridger and Willie for a little bit, and then I went over to Gray's. Yeah, that was fun.
It's awesome to feel like you have a full night and it's like 10 p.m. You're like, sweet.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I'm not gonna feel like shit tomorrow. Let's go.
But yeah, hopefully not as hungover as I think I'm gonna be. Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun night. So Turner Hall, August 25th,
Yes.
2023 is gonna be fucking wild. Anything special that you guys are planning for?
I wanted
It's pretty
to do
far out still.
I want to do some kind of theme, and I remember talking to you about doing like a theme across all
Yeah,
four
that's
bands,
right.
but it was like kind of too late to do that with like the flyer already being done.
What it was just like we weren't communicating between the bands and then also with the venues, and then I was hoping to have it announced by a certain date in my head, so I just had a flyer ready and then just kind of figure out the details later because I was gonna announce and then head off to Europe for 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden, like, I got notice that the venue was suggesting that we maybe do a theme, and then I was like, should we do a theme? But
I think Kinsman is individually going to do a theme. My
idea
idea was like,
I'm all down for the individual themes, but it just doesn't make sense to do a full like
at this point.
Because we're
now.
all so different bands too,
yeah.
And I think that it stresses me out to get people to come dresses in a theme on that scale too. Especially if we got family coming in from out of state, and it's just like, oh yeah, there's a theme. Like, it's just another thing to think about.
Yeah, and I think maybe it would have sold a couple more tickets, but I
do love me a theme party. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, me too. I think fellow Kinsmen, my idea was like goth prom, like we should all wear like super like flowy dresses or like like very like shrouded makeup and like corpse makeup and all that stuff. Like that was my idea. I don't know if that's gonna get carried out.
That would be sick.
It might not happen at all. We might not even have a theme. We might have a beach theme. I don't care or know.
Sure.
But no, it's gonna be quite the show. I have no idea if we're gonna like sell it out or whatever, but like
we're gonna sell it out.
You think so?
We're gonna sell it out.
I'm not betting on it, but I am trying to sell it out.
Oh, we're gonna sell it out.
That'll make headlines, dude, if that happens. Like this where we're at in Milwaukee right now is incredibly special.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And like something Newski said on the podcast the other day was like,
Newski.
We were kind of just he was just kind of talking about like the anxieties of life, and then after picking your head up after a while, you kind of look around and realize like, holy shit, I've done a lot of cool shit.
Oh yeah.
But really trying to look around at this scene and I felt like I was maybe starting. I like had a pretty rough like spring, like late winter. That time of year just never is jiving with me too great. Right. But then it's like we sold out the Backroom with Diet Light. We did a Backroom like album release show for them, and it was like a fucking crazy show. And that was
like nutso show.
It was fucking crazy. Diet Light's mosh pit was a whole width of the whole. It was just insane.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Absolutely crazy. But I felt like I could have definitely taken that one in more specifically. That one, just like. It's fucking and I don't want to get on like some like rock star shit, but like that was the fourth. When we were sound checking, it's like, God damn, we've been here 4 fucking times and it's been sold out here, and just like really, I don't know, just fucking insane. And just kind of looking at retrospect like that, like just trying to be really proud of all these gains, and just every moment it's easier said than done for sure.
No, for real. I mean, between, like, obviously we have, like, people like you, Diet Light, Bug Moment, Scam Likely, all selling out. The Backroom. North Warren was included in that. Fellow Kinsman was included in that.
Alley Eyes was on that one.
Alley Eyes, too, yeah. Like, obviously, all these bands are doing crazy shit, but, like, what I love the most about the Milwaukee scene is you have, like, so many levels of success that you can have as an artist, and, like, so many levels you can grow to. So, like, when I first, like, I've been in the Milwaukee scene in and out since I was, like, 16, but when I, like, really, like, committed to, like, okay, this is my scene, this is my people, this is what I'm going to do. This was, like, around the time we met. So, my guess would be fall of 2021 is when I, like, really, like, was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Like, I went to, like, a shit ton of shows. I think that was fall of 2021 if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah. But like where Diet Light was at that time,
I remember,
was similar to where Chapped Lips is now.
Yes. Yep.
You know what I mean?
I was
and so like there's so many like levels of like where you can start and where you can end up. Because Diet Light just they sold out the back room. Like that's the bar right now is selling out the back room.
Totally.
Rest in peace, the back room.
Right.
But like currently in like, you know, if you're talking indie scene, whatever, like that's the bar is selling at the back room. And Diet Light in a few very, very short years went from 30 people at the Bremen to 300 people at the back room.
Fucking 10 people at Bremen. I was at that Halloween show and it was so fun. And just like I was with my dad and my uncle too. I forget what happened that night, like exactly where we were, but we wanted to go to the Diet Light show because my uncle is a really like he loves Diet Light, and this was like October 21.
Yeah.
And so we went, and there's just like very few people there, and there's just like a few of us just kind of moshing and throwing ourselves around. My dad fell, and like everyone just picked him up, and you're like, hey, and then seeing them at the back room, and my uncle has been following them too, and he was at the back room show, and it's just fucking crazy.
And
it's
like,
so cool to watch.
Like I don't. There's a lot of different like so many different levels you can be, and like anybody can like with the hard work and know-how, and like there's also like community support too. Like the reason Scam likely happened is because you were hosting a Bremen open mic, right? Is that?
I don't think so.
No, okay. I was told the wrong story then.
I wouldn't take the credit. I remember talking with Ducky a good amount around that time when they were first starting, because Ducky was like first like started to record music and would send me music all the time and just kind of be in my DMs like annoyingly. And I was like, who is this kid? And then I met him at the Club Kramer first ever house show.
Oh yeah.
Then Ducky couldn't come to the show, and then they came after work, and we were smoking a cigarette up on the balcony, and it was just me and Duck, and we were just chilling, and it was really sweet to just like be in that moment, and we're just talking about the most casual shit and just like what else is out there. And then I guess getting back to the point of Scam Likely, I think basically I remember there were just some DMs back and forth as far as like Chad. I think Charlie and Chatty were jamming, and then Ducky somehow knew that, and they started jamming together.
I think so. I mean, like less of the way that the band formed, but more of the way that the band like became forefront is like, I mean, they were on your release show, you know, and like you're someone who has provided young artists with crazy fucking opportunities just because, you know,
the vibe was good.
Because the vibes, you know what, like,
you know, and I feel the same with like Chapped Lips too. I was telling Sam, like, you guys got something special going.
They do. They really do.
You guys are fun. You guys are all so awesome individuals and just like great hangs. Like, keep going, yo.
Keep going. Like, the way that like, I don't know, Diet Light, Bug Moment, y'all, like all of these bands like have gone from like 0 to 100 because of not just because of like, the venues, obviously because of the venues. Thankful for the venues and thankful for the fans, but also like the artists that are a little bigger, like taking us under their wing. Like I moved in with Diet Light because I knew them from the Tacoma days, and like that provided me with a lot of like, you know, I met so many people through Diet Light because I lived with them. And then obviously I went off to like my own kind of corner of the scene to like do the Screamo thing, but you know, there's a very supportive air here in Milwaukee, and like I don't know other scenes enough to like speak on their behalf, but I know that what we have is like really special.
Totally.
Very, very community oriented. Very like a lot of selfless. There's like, because Milwaukee's a small city. There's not a lot of clout here. So if you're making music for clout, you're not gonna get fucking anywhere.
Good
so
for
like,
you, yeah.
Make music.
Yep. And it doesn't help to be a fucking dick. Like it's only gonna hurt you in that aspect, especially in a small town. And it's cool to kind of like with that too, Diet Light and you living together, and almost just like taking notes from each other, because me and Max would always kind of talk it up and just like talking to other people, just like, oh, how do you do merch, how do you do booking, like how do you do this, because when you're first starting you don't know shit.
So like none of us know shit.
Right. And I've had some people DM me before about like there's a band in I think Company Calls is a newer band in Marquette area. But they DM'd me once and they were just like, "How do you do booking?" And I sent this like long thing, like
100%.
Like, happy to help.
James Marquin from OLOK. Shout out OLOK. I've known him for many, many years. He occasionally hit me up. How do I do this? I'm like a little worried about my the way I can do this. Like he sometimes wants like a little bit of guidance, and like if I don't have the answer, I will point him to someone who does.
Totally.
I don't really know how to order merch because I make my own merch. So if he has a question about merch, I'm not going to be able to answer that. But like, how do I book a show at Cactus Club?
Yeah.
I'll show you how to book a show at Cactus Club.
Yeah.
You need to have a little bit of grit, and you need to have a little bit of like confidence in yourself, and you need to be able to like be assertive and be like, hey, this is the date I want, but I'm open to other shit.
Yep.
I'm like super stoked to be able to like not only learn from everyone around me. Like I talked earlier about learning from Nick and Josh and Diet Light about how to tour, right?
Yep.
And then not only that, but to be able to like spread that to other people. Because like if a good band is a good band, I'm gonna it's not just like my friends either. Like it's if your music is cool, like you're doing cool shit and it's genuine, it's from the heart, like even if I don't like the style of it, like that's cool shit. And so like we help each other out.
Yep. And it's kind of like one of the themes of the podcast too is like I am genuinely curious about how other people book, and I guess if like Newski is on and asking about touring and like life as an independent musician.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have that conversation, but anyone can go and listen to that if they want to.
Yeah.
And I try to like give a good idea of what we talked about in the Instagram posts, and like try to like put it out there. If anyone's like really wanting to put the work in, like you can learn or hopefully maybe get something out of
it's an email away. You know what I mean? Everything
Seriously.
in the entire country is an email away.
Oh wow.
And you know what I mean? Like, or a DM away even. Like
straight up. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I mean, obviously a venue like Cactus Club will never book through DMs. Like, it's a very organized and like put together venue. But like, I was running Lighthouse from the DMs.
Yep.
Max was running Lighthouse from the DMs.
Emmett just posted that reel about just DMs and how like what can come from one DM, you know?
Yeah.
I saw that.
It's so like, I don't want to say it's easy because it's overwhelming as hell. But like the means that we use to contact other people for booking, for advertising, for whatever are like so accessible.
Yeah,
and
right.
You know, and like
totally.
Like if I didn't have to go to work, I could book myself a tour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and not that it's easy. It's very time consuming. It's very frustrating. It's very like, it's like, why won't you get back to me? It's like all those things. They suck. They suck a lot, but so does work. You know?
Right.
You know
and
what I
at
mean?
least the goal that you're trying to achieve or reach is something that you're very passionate about too.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
it'll be
And
rewarding.
so, I don't know, like finding your niche of people, finding venues that are cool. Like we already talked about all of this. I don't need to reiterate it, but like, despite the tediousness of it and the frustratingness of it, it's like more accessible than seemingly it's ever been. Like I can't imagine like opening a phone book for another state and being like, hey, this is a venue. Hey, can we play a show here? And can you hang up flyers all across the city, all over?
Oh, right. Yeah.
And like venues used to do that. They used to put up flyers for you and stuff. But like, I don't want to have to do that. I'd rather be like, find a local, ask their recommendation for a venue, book that venue, or, you know, like if I was, you know, let's say RIOTNINE was from, you know, Chicago or Minneapolis or whatever, like I would hit up a band, they'd be like, you gotta try Cactus Club. And I'm like, okay, I can't get Cactus Club. I tried. All right, play Promises. All right, or play Last Rites. You know, like a venue that, you know, maybe isn't quite as cool and huge and like community oriented as Cactus Club, but it's still a fucking cool venue. The Bremen, right? Like anybody can have a show at the Bremen, and that's a great starting point for locals in Milwaukee and touring bands coming through Milwaukee. And so, like, if I hit up someone from Chicago, they can give me the Cactus Club of Chicago, and I can try. I'm probably going to fail, and then I will try for the Bremen of Chicago. I'm sure there's 100 Bremens of Chicago.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Literally.
Yeah. Trial and error, learning how to fail. I'll try anything once.
The more you go to those Bremens or of those Bremens that you do, sorry Bremen Cafe, but I mean it is you are a launching pad for a lot of us Milwaukee
Sorry Bremen Cafe,
musicians.
you're like 4 doors down from us right now, and we're just like shit talking.
Not even though. It's a respectful.
It's like an endearing, like yeah, this place is divey.
You gotta
but
play Bremen Cafe at least once. If
you know
you're
what's
from
crazy?
Milwaukee.
RIOTNINE's never played the Bremen.
Really?
And we don't have any
I
plans
did see
to either.
Tacoma at Bremen.
You
Cafe.
saw us play,
yes.
yeah?
Yeah.
I've
to that
played
one
Bremen
show.
like many times, but never with RIOTNINE. The reason we
Wow.
haven't is because they have like, this might be a rumor. I don't even know if it's true, but I've heard that like if they find out that someone in the bands is under 21, they'll like withhold your money.
They do.
I don't know if
I've
that's
heard
true.
something.
And I'm just like not willing to take that risk. Our drummer is very young. He's 17 years old, and we have 4 years before we can play the Bremen. And by the time that happens, I hope to like book a complete rager there and just pack the place.
Totally.
Bremen ragers are different, dude.
21st birthday party at Bremen Cafe. RIOTNINE show.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That would be so nuts.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, that is something that I don't really think about anymore because I'm 24 now, but so many times I've talked to bands that have members under 21 that just have had such
all of RIOTNINE is under 21.
such
I'm the
shit
oldest.
luck and trying to are you 20?
I'm 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just it's tough trying to get a actual venue that has a bar and wants to make beer sales, and
Well,
I
like
get
there's
it.
also
you
like
know?
there's
I get
venues that
it.
suck a lot, like that I'm trying to avoid intentionally. Like I'm not gonna mention any names, but there's a venue in town that all of their shows start at 10 p.m. I'm not doing that.
Oh, I know exactly.
If someone books me on that show, I'll take it, but I'm not booking there intentionally.
I'm gonna go close my front window quick. It's getting dark.
Someone peeking in on us right now. Oh yeah, they're like, social say, can I get your autograph?
Go to bed. Yeah, the 10:30 start shows are, but technically that's punk time now.
What time is my knees hurt time? What
I
time
wanna
is
go to
what time
bed.
is I open the cafe tomorrow at 6:30? What time is that?
That's,
No, I'm a huge proponent for the 6 p.m. doors, 7 p.m. show, 4 bands with 25 to 30 minute sets and very like share cabinets, get the turnovers quick, go outside for a quick cigarette in between sets and get back in the mosh pit and then be over by 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably like a done by 10 show. Yeah.
I love done by 10 shows.
We played a late. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I mean, I love done by 11 shows too, but like
Yeah.
I think a lot more people are like, especially post COVID, are coming to like the earlier shows. The punk scene and the indie scene seem to be a little bit less intertwined with the nightlife scene these days.
It's always like go to the show and then we'll go out to the bars after or something.
Yeah, that
At
too.
least
I mean,
Our
there's
shows sometimes.
there's plenty of argument for like a show that ends by 9 p.m. Like if you have 2 bands on a bill, like especially the indie scene, I've noticed this. The people that go to indie shows do other things. People who go to social sig shows, diet light shows, whatever, they do other things. They have a big social life outside of the scene that is like, they have their favorite bars. They
like come to the show with a group of friends. And then we'll do that, and then we'll go to
exactly.
Brady
Whereas
Street or
I
whatever
found
it is.
the punks shows are their main thing, and it's their main social event. And like a lot of punks or emo kids or whatever you want to call it tend to, from my experience, this is not an end all be all, but like tend to like go to the show as their social event, and so they don't go to a bar afterwards, and so they are way more interested in a 4 or a 5 band bill.
Sure.
Because like, oh, if this is the only thing I'm gonna do tonight, I'm gonna go all out. Spend $15 and see 5 bands. Whereas like someone who's a social sig fan, like that party that I met you at, like those people were there for the party and for social sig.
Yep.
And so I don't know, like the 2 band bill done by 9 p.m. shit is awesome for indie artists, not so awesome for like punk and emo and screamo and stuff. So I think there's all.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Because even just looking at myself, I'm the same way. I'm always like kind of looking for something after. I'm always bouncing around, or like if it ends earlier, I'm down to like do something afterwards and meet people out at the bar. that's kind of my lifestyle, I guess.
Well, you're also like such a social butterfly as a human.
That's all right.
And like, I mean, I'm the same way too. Like, I played that motel show and then went to 2 parties.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
And,
like I'll see you at 2 of those events that each of us did, but we'll go our separate ways at some point.
Yeah, and so like, I mean, there are. I feel like maybe I'm a little bit of an anomaly in the emo or punk or screamo, whatever. That like I think it's because I'm young and very extroverted. Like a lot of people in screamo specifically are older. Like all the guys in Snag, I think, are in their 30s. And I think it's part of being, you know, a more timeless and genuine and heartfelt genre where like it's not lame to do that in your 30s. It's equally cathartic no matter how old you are. Like totally. I saw Jerome's Dream the other day, and they all had to have been in their 40s, and they were still screaming like crazy. Like. Because shit's real.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, you were going to say something about...
It was, we played a late show at the Miramar the other night.
Was that the...
Totally
I was there,
Cash.
wasn't I? Yeah, I was there.
You were there.
I was like piggyback riding on Sam from Chapped Lips. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a weird night.
It was late. Granted that there were 45-minute sets for every band for 4 bands.
Oh, that explains why I felt so weird that night.
Yeah.
I was like, it feels like time is slow.
And it was just like a black box, too. It was like a very clubby venue. It was such a cool venue, too.
I love the Miramar.
Place to play. You know,
that was a weird night.
Especially because it was Memorial Day weekend? Yeah, it was.
I think it was, yeah.
Yep. And then I had just gotten back from Europe, and I think college just ended. Just a very transitional period for a lot of people. And then just like summer kind of kicking in, and it was an interesting
It's good
one.
to have all those explanations, because if I can be like really like bluntly honest about how that night made me feel, I was like sitting in the way in the back watching your set and seeing like 40 people dancing to your songs, and I was like, this is weird. This is like you went off and went to Europe and had this like self exploration and like learned a lot, and then you come back and play to like a damn near empty room, and it's
yeah. Especially when we go last at some of those later night shows,
it was just crazy to feel like damn, this is temporary as fuck.
Oh, no.
This whole like empire of Milwaukee music. If like a group of like, you know, cool people decide to just not go to shows anymore, depending on what your crowd is, they could just disappear.
Totally. Granted, I didn't do like any marketing for
No,
this show.
and like all of these explanations.
What do you
line
mean,
up,
Cleo? What do you mean?
No, I'm not saying that Social Six Empire is dying. That's not what I'm saying. You're still the mayor of Milwaukee.
I'm still running for mayor.
How did we both sync up on that shit?
I'm running for mayor 2024. It's my
I have a story about
campaign.
that once I finish this point. But there is so much consolation in the points of like, yeah, it was graduation weekend or whatever. It was
there's
Memorial
highs and
Day.
lows, you know. We'll do shows that are like, you know, we did this one show at a studio once in like Walker's Point, and I think it really I truly think it correlates to how much I like tell people to come.
True.
If it's a show where I'm like, oh, maybe like it's someone else's show, I don't have to push it as hard because I want to push harder for like another show we got coming up.
Yeah, promotion does go a long way.
Kind of like go a little bit softer on it, and that definitely happened with that Miramar.
And I just said the dumbest sentence ever. I said promotion does go a long way, and I mean that in like a person to person promotion. Like the most like success I've ever had, like getting people to come out to shows is usually when it's my homies that I'm on a phone number basis with and text them, hey, you want to come to a show tonight?
That's if you want to. I went to school for marketing.
Oh, you did?
And
you're one of those.
I didn't learn much of anything, I felt like, but I did soak up some things. And I guess word of mouth is the number one form of marketing that someone else is likely to, I guess, do the thing that they're being marketed for.
That's why Twitter is so awesome, is because people just talk about bands they like on Twitter. And so like
I tried Twitter, Cleo.
I know you tried it. It didn't last very long.
I just get soaked up too much and just
social media is the worst.
Yeah, I really try to pick and choose my battles with social media.
I want to break my phone over my knee like probably 4 times a day. 4 times a day at least.
Yeah.
But
my
yeah,
eyes were hurting so much to a point today that I was on my phone so much.
Yeah, that sucks.
Like I feel like I'm going cross-eyed. You get blue lens glasses. But yeah, to your point though, that telling people, I guess, just directly is gonna be way more efficient for marketing than going around town and hanging up flyers, I think.
I do love hanging up flyers, don't get me wrong.
Never have done it.
You never done it?
Never have done it.
I actually, for the RIOTNINE show, I was like, you know what, I am really thinking like our crowd and like the River West crowd seem to be kind of conducive to each other, like more like radical.
Wait, River West and whose?
RIOTNINE's crowd seemed to intersect a little bit more with like a River West crowd.
Yep.
Like a lot of like more like radical human beings.
Oh my God, totally.
You know, like I mean, East Side and Bayview, you get some like radicals and punks and whatever. But I think like a lot more of that is in River West.
Mm-hmm.
And so like up and down Center Street, it was like boom, every light pole. But then like we ran out of posters.
Oh hell yeah!
And so like we honestly like we didn't really hit the East Side, we didn't really hit Bayview, but like Center Street and like all the offshoots like Brennan and Wheel and everything, like all of them got postered the fuck up. And I don't know if that sold any tickets, but it's still like kind of cool.
Do you put a QR code on the flyer at all, or just put the flyer up there? And
I just put the flyer up. I knew that like our crowd is definitely more of a walk-up crowd than a pre-sale crowd. And I think, like, for Diet Light, it made more sense to have that QR code right there. Buy a ticket right here.
Right.
Like, it's literally that easy.
Yep.
And I did a little bit of that on a personal level. Like, I sent some people, like, the ticket link to the release show. I don't really know if that works for punks as well as it does for y'all. It was definitely worth a try for me.
Yeah.
Especially because I wasn't DMing every follower of RIOTNINE.
Right, sure, right. If you, like, have talked to somebody about music in the past, or maybe
it was all like personal level shit. Like I think when Diet Light did the DM campaign stuff, they went on a little bit more wider lens and kind of just like DM'd random people like, hey, fill in name here. Like they had a
I've done the same thing.
Whereas like when I did a DM campaign, I like literally scrolled through my DMs to like the oldest one that I felt comfortable DMing, and then like customized message for each person.
Sure.
Like just like a genuine conversation. Like, or like I hit up Alan Hallis and I was like, yo, if Breaking and Entering wanted to cover this, I'd put you on the guest list. Like no hesitation at all.
Right.
Like, you know, people that I have real connections with that I would genuinely want to be at my show. Cause like if you're not real to me, like if you're not a connection to me, I don't really need you to be at my show.
Yeah.
You know, like if like there's people that, I've kind of made the joke. This is very, very like hyperbolic, and you know,
you use such big words.
Do
it's sweet, or maybe I'm just hyperbolic. I know that I've heard that word before.
Like hyperbole, like an exaggeration.
Okay. Yep.
So this is like a little hyperbolic, but I joke a lot. Like disingenuous fuckers hate RIOTNINE. And it's like to say that like if you aren't with it, then you're not with it. And if you aren't like a genuine and real human being, you're probably not gonna like our music. Like if you don't have that connection to something real, you're probably not gonna like it. And I don't want you to like it.
But I don't know if that means that you have to hate it though.
No, and that's where the hyperbole comes in.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Flew right over my head.
And like no, most people don't hate us. There's no one out there that's out to get us or thinks that we're a bad band. But like there's definitely people that like when we started going really hard on the trans rights shit, there was people that like were super supportive at the beginning that kind of, you know, eased their support off. And it's not, I don't hold that against any people. I don't think that people are bad for like being wary of, you know, like really heavy radical politics. Like, you know, radical is a heavy word. You know, anarchy is a heavy word, and death before detransition is a heavy ass sentence. And so for people to kind of back off their support a little bit makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But those are also the people that don't really need to show up to my shows.
Right.
I don't.
Right.
If you're not here like with us as a community, I don't need you or even really want you to show up.
It's like an extra spot for somebody else that could
literally,
really
100%.
What was that's something I wanted to ask you. What does death before detransition mean?
It's basically saying it's kind of like a transgender version. Like this is a very palatable way for me to say it. It's a transgender version of the phrase "give me liberty" or "give me death."
Okay.
Like that's like that's a very American thing to say, right? Like, give me liberty or give me death, right?
I see. Okay.
So used a lot in like patriotic, whatever.
Yep.
But also like it's kind of a genuinely real, like, it can be applied to, anti-police, right? Give me liberty or give me death, right? Like, let me go or take my life,
right.
And for death before detransition, it's literally like if I'm not allowed to exist peacefully, I'm going to exist violently.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not allowed to exist authentically, then I'm not really existing. Like what
Ooh, that's so deep.
What a lot of people fail to understand is that to take away a part of one's identity, like, and remove that from their personhood, right? Like, how do I put this? Like, you can't live without, like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, in the same way that you can't tell someone that they can't be a Christian or they can't be a Muslim, you can't tell someone that they are a boy or a girl, or, it's like all of the things that are telling us what we can and can't be, like, boil down to the same concept. And like with things like an identity, and to subject that to subject an identity to scrutiny at all is crazy when you think about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, transgender identity is one that's kind of over scrutinized right now, but imagine doing that the same way to any other form of identity, chosen or not.
Right.
Obviously, I'm not choosing to be trans. If there's that old quote: "If I could ever choose to be gay or straight, I'd just choose to be happy." Like it's a non-consequential part of my identity, but people tend to think that it's consequential, or people tend to think that it's political or whatever. Like, my identity is not political until you make it so.
Right.
Sorry, that was a little bit of a jumbled whatever.
No, I know what you're getting at for
Yeah.
sure. As far as like the death before transition. Sorry, I'm like but yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah, and I think there's people out there that like are proponents of detransition, and they're like, they're like, well, just just be happy with what you were given, just be happy with this, and like, no.
Like, who's that person to tell you?
Exactly, right. Like, not only do I know about my own gender dysphoria, but even if I didn't have gender dysphoria, who the fuck are you to tell me not to live my life a certain way? My way of life does not affect yours at all.
Right.
And yes, you can boil it down to, is it a choice? Is it a choice to transition? Yes, but it's a choice between life and death. You know what I mean? Like, people tend to like make trans identity something that's subjective and subject to scrutiny, and like, oh, it's a choice to be gay. Oh, it's a choice to be trans. Like, no, it's a choice to live. If I didn't transition,
and it's a choice to hate.
Yeah, right. Like that. Yeah. There's no inherent thing that's telling you to hate. There's some part of me that tells me I'm a woman. I don't really know how to explain it in the most like eloquent way.
Why do you think it is that people are so like there are proponents of hate against transgender people?
I think we are a demographic of people that's like really easy to misunderstand. Like, why would a man want to be a woman? Like, that's not what we are. That's not who we are, but that's how it's proposed a lot, right? And gender dysphoria is something that like everybody experiences it super uniquely, and so there's not like a great like, it's not just like there's not like an easy explanation for it.
Right.
Oh, why are you a Christian? Right. Oh,
right.
I believe this because I was taught to me by someone, and I studied it, and despite any scrutiny that I was able to give to it, I believe it to be true. Right. That's an easy explanation for why you're a Christian. Oh, why are you an American? Oh, because I was born here. right? That's an easy explanation. Why are you trans? Because when I look in the mirror, I don't really feel like I belong, and like when my voice lowers, it physically hurts my brain to hear my low frequency voice. Like, that's weird shit.
Yeah.
And most people don't have the capacity or the desire to understand the weird shit.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, like at the very beginning of this podcast, like misunderstanding can equate to fear very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you are not willing to understand, if you don't want to understand, if you don't care to understand, or if you were not ever taught to understand, you are going to be afraid. And like fear turns into, isn't that like a Yoda quote or something?
I just watched all the Star Wars.
What is the something turns to panic, panic turns to hate, hate leads to anger, and anger leads to pain or something? Fear leads to panic, panic leads to...
Is that Yoda or is that somebody else? I did see this in a movie recently, but it could definitely be Yoda.
It was also referenced in an Idol song, and that's where I like know it the best from. Fear leads to panic, panic leads to... Yeah.
Oh, that's... What song is that?
Danny Nadelko. Yeah. Danny Nadelko.
Oh.
Yeah, that album, like... when I was like, I don't know, like 16 or 17 years old, I was like, oh, punk rock can be positive and loving. Yay. Yeah, now look where I am. I'm fucking jaded and playing Scrams music about how the world sucks.
Yeah, that's what being an artist is.
How the turntables have.
It's there's waves, you know? There's waves.
On my fourth glass of water.
Who knows? Maybe you'll just be a folk artist in a few years.
Oh, that's absolutely going to happen.
Yeah.
At some point, I'm going to wear a little bit less black and a little bit more, like, denim, probably. And I'm going to start singing. Like, once I get good at individual songwriting, it's over for the hose. I'm going to start doing some folk music.
Yep.
I really, like, I've been working on my, like, folk harmony. I was listening to Townes Van Zandt today, and, like, his self-titled album, and it's like, how high can I stretch that harmony? You know, and like I saw Lady Bird over the weekend, and their set is like so inspiring. Like also Long Mama, I think they're probably on stage. Like, what time is it? They went on stage at 8.
What?
They're at the back room tonight.
What?
And Kat literally like put me on the guest list. Like, I don't think I can make it. I'm gonna be on a podcast.
No.
But
if I knew that, we could have gone together.
Damn it.
I want to see Long Mama so bad. Oh my god, I was just talking to Shell recently about it. Like we next time they're playing in Milwaukee, we both have to go.
They're so good.
Their record was so good.
One of like the best records to come out of Milwaukee recently. Like in total, like
Butter. It was so good.
They're one of those bands that like I love them, and then like you obsess over a record for a little while, and then it kind of fades out of your like regular listening, and then. Like, they're one of those bands where, like, you can hear a clip of them playing on an Instagram story and be like, oh.
Yeah.
like Snag, Frail Body, Long Mama. Those are the 3 that I can think of off the top of my head where you just, like, you hear it on it, like, just a short little clip of them playing live. You can barely hear shit.
Yeah.
But you hear, like, one little guitar line. You're like,
yeah. Yeah.
That's why I fucking love that band, you know?
Right. The licks.
Yeah, they're a special fucking project.
Yep, I'd love.
And I don't say that lightly either. Like, there's.
How long has Long Mama been around? You know,
I really
just heard about them.
I think they
put out this last record, and then, I mean,
I think they were a band for a while, but this might be their first like legit record.
And they've been like touring around like the Midwest and doing all this cool shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain things with like folk music that. Like, I could relate this to Screamo again. Like, once you're in a Screamo scene, like, you have homies all across the country immediately. Because Screamo's a pretty niche genre. Like, I can DM back and forth with a guy named Ryan from the band Sanagi, and they are in Philly, right? Like, not that we're, like, best friends or anything, but we've exchanged DMs a couple of times.
Yep.
You know, I think folk music is, like, you know, similar in a way that's more like, oh, there's folk festivals here, there, this, there, that, whatever. Right. And like if you write a good record and you play a good show, like you can get on those festivals because of the fact that you're making this kind of niche type of music. That
whereas like the music I make is, I could fit on a bunch of different bills. I think.
Sure. Right.
You know, and like I'm doing a solo set too. It's a little bit more accustomed to like the folk, but if we start playing a little bit more like Arctic Monkey covers and just, like more
dude,
like
my high school band used to cover I bet you look it on the dance floor. It's like when y'all pulled that out during sound check at the back room, I was like, no fucking way.
We practiced that one the other day just to keep it fresh. Just
it's such a banger.
It's so good.
Oh man,
it's like on the highest end of my vocal range. I feel like without going into my head voice, so it's just like perfect.
Yeah,
I'm really going for it.
As much as I have like my annoyances with like early to mid 2000s like garage rock, like the Strokes and Arctic Monkeys and stuff.
I get it.
It's as much as I like have that like annoyance or qualms with it, like that song is such a banger.
So fucking
anybody
good.
who is anybody can admit that song's a banger.
So good. Yeah. I'm glad I never got like super into. I don't know. Well, I guess like my influences as far as because I love like Blink-182, Green Day, the Killers, but also like the Kooks and Cage the Elephant.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm just like kind of all over in this like FM 1021. It's like a solid 2007 to 2014 FM 1021 era was like.
That was very formative to my music taste as well.
Yeah.
Like in high school, I like revisited a lot of that stuff. Listening to like
I smell sex and candy.
Yeah.
That one would play.
Also, like, Cage the Elephant, like, dropped a record. I want to say it was, like, my freshman or sophomore year of high school, and that's kind of when I got back into that, like, garagey kind of indie rock stuff.
Sure.
I think Social Cues was the record.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever listened to it, like, in full length, but, like, that got me back into, like, the Black Keys and, like, all it. Yeah. Like you said, FM 1021 core.
Core, yeah.
Yeah, 1021 core.
For real.
That's funny. At the same time, I was like revisiting all of that stuff. I was also getting into like Sonic Youth and Dinosaur Jr. and like more like legit bands. It's just funny. Like
you were telling me about Dinosaur Jr. recently, right?
Yeah,
something about them.
I probably was.
You're playing with them?
No,
okay.
they're like legendary. No,
something about them.
Do you know anything about Dinosaur Jr.?
I don't think so. I was thinking of Dinosaur Boyfriend.
No, they're like
a smaller indie band.
You could call them slacker rock. You could call them noise rock. Their singer, / main songwriter, guitar player. His name's Jay Mascis. He's famous for playing jazz masters. If you ever seen like a white jazz master with a gold pick guard, that's his signature. Like everyone has had that guitar.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
He kinda sings like this, and it talks very slow. And it's like almost like
can't bring it out of his nose.
His voice actually kind of sounds a little similar to what is that guy's name from Car Seat Headrest on
Sure. Yep. I don't know.
Similar inflection on the what's that record with the two dogs like hugging?
Is it like cream and black colored?
Yeah, I don't listen to virgin music. I'm sorry. No, I listen to Scrams. That's the most virgin music there is. One time I made the joke. Yeah, she let me hit because I listened to Scrams, and my friend was like, "That has never happened in the history of ever." No, but anyway, God. I don't really listen to Twin Fantasy, right? Is that the name of the record? The Car Seat Headrest.
I'm not too familiar with the records.
I'm just trying to relate to like back to Dinosaur Jr.
I know the song "Reuse the Cells." That song.
I don't even know any of the songs.
So fucking good, and then probably one of their more popular ones. I don't listen. I do like those songs though, but I remember hearing like somewhere through the grapevine that like someone in the band's kind of a piece of shit.
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't
clue.
know. That just stuck with me for some reason.
But anyway, Jay Mascis, he like plays through like the biggest fucking amps you've ever everybody who has ever seen them is like, yeah, they're the loudest band I've ever seen in my entire life.
Car Seat Headrest?
No, Dinosaur Jr.
Oh, okay.
And like he's famous for like playing jazz masters into crazy fuzz pedals into huge amps, like very noisy, but also like very like catchy, kind of similar to like Sonic Youth, where like it's like really like wall of noise guitars, but also had its moments where it's like super catchy and like sing along. Like Dinosaur Jr. is like a great indie rock noise slacker band.
Cool.
But yeah, I was getting into them around the same time of like that, like revisiting my childhood music of like the White Stripes and Black Keys and
Yep.
Yeah.
White Stripes I never got too into. just like their popular ones again. I feel like that's like with a lot of bands. I never got like super deep into a lot.
I mean, that's
of
all of us in high school, right? Like,
You know,
were any of
we're
us
the
like listening
MP3 generation.
Yeah. No, I like in high school I tried to like get like into music, and I like listened to like Radiohead and shit.
Oh my god, I got really into electronic music in high school, like sophomore year. Kids, I feel like there's always that like 16, you kind of really discover. Well, it's different for everyone, but for me, I like discovered music and like really feeling it, like on an emotional sense. I think it just kind of I found music that matched my emotions in that age. And there's some like old Flume and Odessa and some those two specifically that I got really into. And there's like music with no words or anything and just more of a feel.
Sure.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
You'll have to send me some shit.
I will, yeah. Flume's like first record. I think it's
I know that name. I don't think I've ever listened to it though.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but now like Odessa's playing they're headlining Summerfest at the big theater.
Oh yeah.
But they used to be like probably like on an electrical artist sense, like kind of just smaller and playing like Myanmar's all around. And Myanmar is pretty legendary though as far as playing.
Myanmar is actually a like really sick venue.
Yeah.
Like their sound system is really really solid. I live directly behind the Miramar, like close that like when they're doing EDM events, we can sometimes hear like a doof, doof,
right.
Just like through the walls. It's like, oh my god.
That's like some electronic shows over at Bremen Cafe. They're going hard at Bremen tonight. All right, we are at 2 hours and 11 minutes, my friend.
Wow.
Should we wrap this up?
Is it retiring time? It's retiring time, I think.
Retiring time. Time to stretch my back, stretch out my knees. What do you think of that table over there?
That's a lovely table.
I'm gonna, I think, make that a temporary podcast table once I move some stuff around.
That is a gorgeous. I thought you were gonna say you were gonna like refinish it. I was like, no.
Oh no. Yeah, I'm gonna paint it. And
I'm leaving your podcast now.
It'll be so nice for like more space for like the four or like the more people on.
Sure, yeah. Like
maybe I can have like 6 mics going.
I listened to your podcast with Shuby.
Oh yeah,
and that was so fun.
Yeah,
I got like 45 minutes in. I was like, holy shit, this is 3 hours.
Like, 3 hours and 37 minutes. I think they have the record.
Wow.
I think they have the record or Spoy. I don't know.
I was gonna tell a story about Spoy.
Yeah.
When we both said the thing about you running for mayor at the same time, I remembered there's this show. I was filling on a bass for the Glamps, and one of the opening band was Spoy. Yep. And I fucking love hanging out with all those guys.
Boy, they're such a good hang.
And one of them made a joke about you running for mayor, and then they started just like doing Parker impressions, and it was the funniest shit. Like, yeah, he'd get up on. It's like, yeah, he'd run for mayor and he'd win and get up on stage and be like, you shouldn't have. See,
me. Really?
It's just because you're such a personable human being.
I'm trying, Cleo. I'm trying. Thank you.
You're such a good human, like genuinely. And I think like if anybody else was making social sig music, I wouldn't like it. I don't think, but like because it's you and it feels so genuine from you, like if someone else that like was less like sunshiny and friendly and like caring and supportive of like the local scene, like if someone like with like a less strong sense of character was making the exact same music, I would think it's lame. But like because you are such a genuine human being and that music like reflects who you are as a human being so well, like you have like the sunshine indie rock that just feels fun and skateboardy, and then you have like Ackerman's like real shit. And so like, you know, I that's what I like the most about social sig, about you too. So
that means a lot. Thank you,
yeah,
Cleo.
of course.
Seriously.
It's on record. It's on the books, guys.
Hey, you're looking.
I had to say that publicly.
You looking for a job in politics? I'm running for mayor.
No, I'm an anarchist.
But I could say a very similar thing to you about the Milwaukee scene, Cleo. The amount of times I've seen you at a show or at one of our shows, and either my guitar goes out of tune and you're like pointing at it, I'm like, oh yep, or my microphone falls to the ground and you're the one holding it up. Or when the Diet Light house goes kaput with the water leak.
Dude, that was crazy. We were we were without water for 4 days.
That's wild.
Did I ever like
so
fully
cold?
Did I ever like fully tell you the story of like what happened?
I believe I got the rundown from the Diet Light.
Should I give it to the podcast, or are we wrapping it up?
Give it to the podcast. Maybe,
Okay,
make a cool clip out of it.
Yeah. So it was one of RIOTNINE's like first shows.
RIOTNINE did play at that.
We played. I think. Yeah, we opened. This was Ian's first show on drums with us. It was his
Sure, okay.
We were playing like a couple of covers too because like he was so new to the band, and we didn't have a bass player at the time, so we had Dean McKenzie, who is also a Diet Light roommate.
Yep.
Plays in the band Glowing Tide, which is a fucking awesome like shoegaze, slowcore, emo fusion band. Anyway, we had him on bass filling in. So like I said, playing a lot of covers because like covers you can look up tabs and it's a lot easier to just like whatever. But we opened and then Garden Home played and it was had to have been 120 kids in the Lighthouse basement. And if you've ever been to the Lighthouse, it's pretty cramped. It's not as cramped as the washroom, but it's very cramped. And Garden Home plays a killer set, and Mway goes up, they play a killer set, and then on their, like, right before, like, the breakdown of their last song in the test chamber, like, I thought I saw someone, like, bursting champagne open. I was like, yeah, let's fucking go, this is awesome, let's fucking go, Mway. But no, it was water coming out, like, there was a sump pump line that was going from, like, the floor of the basement up to the ceiling, and because it was a pump, it was pressurized. And like someone moshing must have run into it and just like broke open, and like water was spraying all over gear. Like my drum set is still stained to this day from all that water. Like it was just like
never forget.
It was hard water. There was calcium and shit in it too. Like so it just stuck on everything. And like thankfully we only blew one speaker. Like one speaker got fucked up, and like all the amps were fine. The drums, obviously, they're drums. Who cares? Pedal boards were all fine. Guitars all were untouched. It was like one like shitty main vocal speaker that like is easy as fuck to replace. That's the only thing that broke. And because we lived in a house that was well over 120 years old, the landlord couldn't figure out how to hire a plumber that could fix it properly. So for 4 days we were without running water. The dishes were there was maggots in the dishes. And yeah, it was crazy. Like, keep in mind, I was living with 4 just doodly dudes, and I love Diet Light and I love Dean. They're just dudes.
Oh yeah,
and you know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
like,
I've seen the kitchen. I've seen the kitchen with running water.
Yeah. Don't even get me started. I'm not living with them anymore. No shit to be talked. And but the worst part, the bathrooms. Like if you've ever been to like Summerfest when it's like 11 p.m. and the porta potties that are closest to like the big stages or the country music.
I try not to.
Imagine that, but worse. And in your house. Like there was one time I was sitting in my room with the door closed, and Max like went into the bathroom to like brush his teeth or something, and the smell was so strong that when he opened the bathroom door through my closed door, I started like, oh God, Jesus,
because it would just pile up.
It would just and like thankfully all 5 of us had like good committed relationships, and we were all like, I was like, hey Lee, can I shower at your place? Like I'm sorry.
Totally.
It was really bad. Like one of the most like upsetting things that has ever happened to me was living in a house with like literal piles of human shit piling up in the toilets. Like what are you supposed to do, right? Like you can get a bucket to like fill with water to flush, but where do you get water? There's no running you could buy a 5-gallon of like the spring water that you put in water coolers. That's going to go in a day with 5 roommates.
Right.
And then you're just like
you get 1 poop a day.
Right. It like
with one.
It was crazy. Like
oh my God.
There was
what time of year was this?
This was September. So at least it was hot enough to be gross, but it wasn't like cold enough to be horrific. You know what I mean?
Right. If that happened in the winter, that would have been a little scary.
Yeah. But like within 4 days, we got like the first time I did dishes after that. Like I tied like I had 2 bandanas around my neck, and I literally leaned out the window for a second because I was gagging. It was so bad. We found maggots in the sink. Like you can't just not eat. You can't just not shit. And you
realize
also like
how important water is real quick. Real quick.
Sobers you up fucking fast. That was a crazy
Yeah,
experience.
so the pipe burst. You were holding it, or what was going on, or just
I had a roll of tape in my hand, and I was trying my hardest to just and eventually someone like realized, okay, this pipe goes to this, and we can turn off this knob, and it shuts it off.
Oh wow.
And then it was just like a very slow stream because the
took a little bit.
It wasn't
figure
like
that out.
Yeah, no. So it was probably only like a minute and a half of like freak out, but it was like such a like intense freak out that it felt like hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like we had to call the landlord, and so we're like, okay, everybody needs to get their like that was crazy. I don't remember. Were you there?
No, I wasn't there. I think
so.
I remember. I forget what I was doing.
So we had to call the landlord to like get him to the scene to like help like figure out how to fix this. So it was all of us, all of our partners, and like a couple other homies that were there, and like we were like, you guys got to leave like now, get out, and then we literally had like a 55-gallon like huge trash can that we were like carting around PBR cans, like every evidence of like the fact that there was a show there. We literally took amps from like the showroom and like threw them into the practice room haphazardly to make it look like there wasn't a show.
Right.
Because like we were not trying to get evicted, you know, and like the landlord spent a ton of money on like fixing it, and we were already worried he was gonna have to like. Yep. You know, at least give us some kind of warning, or like, dude, this is serious. Like, house shows are not cool according to most landlords or all landlords, right? Like
the lease, I guess.
Yeah. And so, like, if you break your lease, right, like you don't have a place to stay. So we were like freaking out, like we got to get everybody really out of here.
Up to that one person if they want to boot you, or
and like obviously, like if you would have went forward with that, we would have taken him to court and figured something out.
Yeah,
like it would have been okay in the end, no matter how poorly things could have went. But like it was still stressful. It doesn't matter how like level-headed you can be. It's like when a situation is stressful, you have to take care of it.
Especially when it's in it's affecting your day-to-day life, and then so you're probably all busy individuals on top.
I was working full time. They were all working full time. Like,
and then it's just another wave of like, oh shit, something else I gotta attend to constantly.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I'm gonna tell that story till the day I die because it's super funny now.
Yeah,
but it was in the moment. It was like some of the worst. What no water. That's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
Well,
I think that's a great ending point.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. To wrap this up,
everything's just going to become a story someday.
Yeah. Cleo, you are such a proponent of the Milwaukee scene, and it's fucking awesome.
Thanks.
And I wish you all the success and love, and congrats on the new EP. It was fucking amazing. I listened to it today, and I was crying in my car. So definitely check it out.
Death Before Detransition.
It's fucking insane. Really impressive, and I'm excited for more music from you guys. And
thanks,
I have to catch a show sometime. It's required.
Yeah, very soon.
It's required in 2020.
We actually don't have a lot on the books right now, but we have a banger lined up for November and a banger lined up for September.
What's November? Can you talk about it?
Are you on that, Bill?
No, I don't have anything booked in at past Turner.
Oh, yeah. So November, well, the one in September is not announced yet. I mean, they're both not announced. I can't really talk about the September one yet. But in November, I think it's Promises. Okay. It's like us, Diet Light, and Totally Cash. Like, nice. Max came to me. He's like, I want to do a Halloween show with, like, the craziest bands I can imagine. And, like, RIOTNINE's a rager, TC is a rager, and he just like wants like the craziest pit, basically.
Promises.
And we couldn't book it for Halloween, so we ended up doing it like it's like early November, like November 3rd or something.
Gotcha.
It's like we're just doing it like a 3-band all local, just banger, you know. Like, we just want the craziest possible pit.
All of your bands together would put a fucking rager of a show for sure. Yeah. Well, fucking sick. Thanks for coming on and talking to me.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
We'll definitely kick it soon. So, thank you. All right, bye, guys. See ya.